KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. Nobody in Kansas City has sports like 96.5 The Fan.
Right side throw, touchdown! Kansas City! A 3-yard touchdown pass in overtime! Kansas City wins the game!
Welcome into The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
Back-to-back best sports talk hosts as voted on in the Pitch magazine.
Live from the Fan Studios. Here's CDOT.
Let's do this. Another day, another dollar, another edition of The Drive. You were listening to The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, 96.5thefan.com, and also the Odyssey app. My name is Carrington Harrison. Happy to be here with you on this wonderful Tuesday. I understand that there is still a cloud of disappointment in the air around Kansas City. The snow is coming. It's supposed to snow tonight or tomorrow morning, or I don't know, but everybody that keeps track of the weather is telling us that it is going to snow at some point, so hopefully you are taking the necessary precautions. Go to the store, get your bread, get your eggs, get your milk, get all of those things that you need to weather out this winter storm. It does feel like this is going to be the last one that we are going to have, at least for this season. We have a lot to get into. I'm still maybe not ready for the full speed ahead off-season look for the Kansas City Chiefs just yet. I'll get there. Maybe tomorrow, Thursday. I still want to recap the game. I still want to kind of maybe recap the season as a whole. I'm not really all the way there yet to start breaking down what's going to happen with Kelsey, what's going to happen with DeAndre Hopkins, should they bring this player back. We will get there at some point. I do need you guys to do me a couple of favors. Number one, I need you listening to The Drive each day at 2 o'clock. Number two, I need you to tell one friend. It'd be great if you could tell two friends, but I know it's been a tough last couple of days. You just telling one friend, or at least think about telling one friend, it would mean all the world to me. This is where I would like to begin today's show. For the first time in a while, I kind of made the early morning sports talk TV rounds. I watched a little bit of FS1. I watched a little bit of First Take. That's usually not part of my morning routine. I'm usually much more of a podcast individual. I spend a little time on TikTok. I'm doing some reading. I'm on the internet. But this time, I made myself a decent little breakfast. I sat down in front of the television, and I was listening to First Take and kind of flipping around. And as I was doing this, as you would imagine, there were a lot of arrows that were pointed at Patrick Mahomes. There were a lot of arrows that were pointed at Andy Reid. Let's talk about it. I don't want to make it seem like Patrick Mahomes and I are some great friends. Sure, we talk every week. We don't really spend a whole lot of time talking off the air, but we do have conversations from time to time. But over the last, 4 years that he's come on the show, I have been able to pick up on some things. And you have probably picked up on these same things as well with Patrick Mahomes. He is a hyper-competitive individual. And for the most part, I would say that Mahomes has been the golden boy of the league. Even when he had what was perceived to be his biggest failure before Sunday's Super Bowl, that really wasn't on Mahomes. Sure, the Chiefs got dominated by Tampa Bay, but almost everybody put that on the surrounding cast. Almost everybody put that on the offensive line, the parts. The sentiment after the Chiefs lost to Tampa Bay was, you did everything that you could. Your team wasn't good enough. That's not on you. And okay, fine. I'm not here to tell you otherwise. I'm simply telling you what my perception was of the last time that the Chiefs lost in the Super Bowl. That is not the perception of this one. The perception of this one is you were not good enough. You choked. You did not play well. You are not what we thought you were. You are not the greatest quarterback we have ever seen. Things have turned that quickly for Patrick Mahomes. Now, I'm not here to address all the hot takes regarding the Chiefs quarterback. People are going to feel how they're going to feel. But I will tell you this, if Patrick Mahomes is the intense competitor that I know him to be, that many of you know him to be, and how he is perceived, this is the most critical offseason of his career. And the criticism that you are taking, it should make you question everything. It should make you question your dedication to playing football. It should make you question your diet. It should make you question how you watch film. It should make you question how you prepare. It should be a real soul-searching mission for the next couple of days and weeks for Patrick Mahomes. hey, what went wrong in this thing? I felt good. I prepared. I did everything. And I wasn't good enough in the absolute biggest moment and when my team needed me the most. You should take that to heart. You should take that personally. I want to see Patrick Mahomes take all of this criticism. I want him to channel it. I want him to bury it deep down inside, and I want him to use that as fuel and motivation moving forward. Believe it or not, losing is not the worst thing that can happen to you. Almost everybody loses. Sure, Jordan never lost in the finals. There were a lot of disappointments before then. In my opinion, the best football team that we've ever seen, the 2007 New England Patriots, they lost in the Super Bowl. Almost every great entity, Muhammad Ali, we consider him to be the greatest boxer of all time. He lost the first fight to Joe Frazier. I can give you examples after examples after examples of how your favorite athlete was down at one point. Some way more down than what Patrick Mahomes is. But the story is now the comeback. The story is how you guide your team back to the Super Bowl. The story is how you erase the disappointment from Sunday and you go out there and ball out and play to the best of your abilities. That's the story. There's no shame in getting knocked down. Everybody gets knocked down. Do you stay down? How long do you stay down? This is a Chiefs team that came into the Super Bowl very, very confident, and they should. They had won the last 2. They've been in 5 of the last 6. They had won 23 of their last 24 games. This was a Chiefs team where fan confidence is riding high, player confidence, coaching confidence, front office, training staff. Everybody's feeling good going into the Super Bowl. This was a loss that rocked your foundation to its core. This was a major setback. All right, how do you respond? And again, if Mahomes is who I think he is and who I believe he is, this should be the best offseason of his career. This should be when you're talking to your trainer and you're figuring out, hey, maybe this workout isn't working. Let's do this. Hey, maybe I'm not eating correctly. I should be doing this. This should make you want to change everything you are doing to be a much better and superior version of your already incredible self at playing quarterback. That's on the QB side of things. Andy Reid was taking a lot of arrows too this morning. The thing that has to upset Andy the most when you wake up today and you're replaying the game in your mind and you're thinking about what you could have done differently over the last couple of weeks to prepare your team, the worst thing that you can feel is that you didn't have your team prepared. The worst thing that you can feel is that you didn't get your team ready, properly motivated, whatever term you want to use to go out and play at their absolute peak. It's not to me that the Chiefs lost. You can live with the loss. Losses are fine. It was that they got smoked. It was that they got outclassed. It was that, they never showed up. That's the issue. The issue has to be you didn't bring your best to the biggest stage. After a year of talking about how important this game is, after a year of talking about how important this matchup is. That's what it is. After a year of it. A year. So that's what I want to see from the Chiefs. You've got to be the media darlings the last couple of years. Your quarterback was going to Disney World and your Hall of Fame quarterback was at Coachella with his wife and doing all this cool stuff. I want to see the Chiefs laying low for this offseason. Have your fun. You're still 20-something. It's not the worst thing in the world. I want to see a renewed focus and dedication from Kansas City and coming out and looking to pound people next year. That's what I want to see from Kansas City. And this is a real crossroad in your organization. A real, hey, what's going to happen to the Chiefs? Because you saw it, I saw it. A lot of people are going to start dancing on the grave of the Chiefs. A lot of people are going to believe that the blueprint is out there to stop Patrick Mahomes. A lot of people believe that the dynasty is over with Kansas City. Okay. Show those people that they're wrong. Show those people that you are better than them still. And that this was a very minor setback. So I'm very intrigued to see what happens with Kansas City. I'm intrigued to see what happens with Patrick Mahomes. I'm intrigued to see what happens with Andy Reid. I'm intrigued to see what happens with Brett Veach and how they go about building back this roster and trying to replenish some of the talent that they have lost over the last couple of years. This team has been getting by, I think, at running back, at wide receiver, at some of the other positions. It's time to get back to trying to give your quarterback everything he needs to go out there and try to win a championship. Coming up on the other side, we're going to be joined by Joshua Briscoe. We're also going to be joined by Matt Verderam to get you ready for, I guess, the offseason for the Kansas City Chiefs. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Winter is more than half over, and things are looking up. But before we start thinking about spring lawn care, I'd like to ask you to look up at your trees. This is Larry Ryan at Ryan Lawn and Tree. And right now, before the leaves fill in, is a great time to find and take care of old storm damage, remove dead branches, and carefully prune trees for better growth and storm resilience. Now is also when you can save 15% with our winter rates. Our team of master pruners and certified arborists is unmatched in both skill and care. And at Ryan Lawn and Tree, they're also employee owners. You're not just a customer, you're their customer. I think you'll be impressed with the difference that makes. So will your valuable trees. Take advantage of our winter rates and enjoy 15% off all tree services when you book before March 1st. Call today or book online at ryanlawn.com/tree.
Brew Brothers at Harris, Kansas City, now open. Dine on mouth-watering appetizers, then feast on one of our 6 American Wagyu burgers, including the Bacon Jam Burger and Blazing Burger. Wash it down with your favorite ice-cold beverage, all while watching the game on one of our 45 TVs. Dine in or carry out. Brew Brothers at Harris, Kansas City always hits the spot. Brew Brothers and Brew Brothers Express are now open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-BETS-OFF.
From fast breaks to buzzer beaters to block parties, there's nothing as exciting as basketball. With Underdog, you can bring that excitement to wherever you watch. Playing on their app is as easy as choosing higher or lower on player stats like threes made, points, rebounds, and so much more. I love the Underdog app. So get those selections right, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. It's so much fun. Millions of fans have won over billions on Underdog. Will you be the next? It's simple to join the fun. Join in by signing up for the Underdog app today using promo code BOB, and you'll get a free selection as part of your first cash entry, plus up to 1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
With Target, checking off your Valentine's Day list has never been easier. First, surprise your favorite people with something extra thoughtful, like a soothing candle and a memorable scent, or a decorative picture frame to show off every moment. Both buy one, get one 50% off with Target Circle. And don't forget to treat yourself. Find the sweetest style for your special occasion with 20% off women's dresses now through Friday. This week, find Valentine's gifts for everyone you love, only at Target.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My check engine light's on?
That could hurt your gas mileage. The AutoZone free Fix Finder service can help find the fix for free.
Get in zone.
This whole report for free?
That's right, printed and on your phone for free.
Get in zone.
But what if the fix is too tough?
We'll recommend a local shop. Fix Finder, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
What does it feel like to file with TaxSlayer and get your guaranteed maximum refund? It feels like the last level of a video game, facing off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund.
All your refund is belong to me.
Using the power of TaxSlayer like a secret power-up he doesn't see coming.
Only the most tax confident can defeat me.
Throwing your laptop at his video game face and watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use TaxSlayer.
Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Okay, so that's with bacon, cheese, lettuce, tomato, grilled onions, ketchup, and hold the pickles.
You know what you like. You wouldn't order your burger just any way. Why should your sports talk be any different? With Chapters on the free Odyssey app, you can choose the topics that matter to you most. Whether it's reactions, matchup previews, injury updates, or team news, quickly find what you really care about. Your football talk, your way. Download the free Odyssey app and start listening today.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Trey Smith. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by Joshua Briscoe. His appearance is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shields of Kansas City. Briscoe, how you doing, my man?
I am doing, in the grand scheme of things, pretty okay. I would have made a few changes to Sunday's script if the NFL would have asked me, but all things considered, I'm all right.
I was watching the Super Bowl halftime show, and I was trying to think, is this something that Briscoe would be into or not into? Because we went through your Spotify. Yes. I'm assuming you were into it, but it does seem as we have, come 48 hours after the halftime performance, it does feel like it was a very polarizing one.
Yeah, I loved it. It was also the only joy I got from my TV screen for that 3-hour period. Like, pregame, had a good time. Postgame, had some friends over, had a good time. Not even the commercials brought it for me this year, so Kendrick was my guiding light. And I really, really did enjoy it. But I also understand that, having seen some more of the reaction, every Super Bowl halftime show has a dissenter here or there. But I do think that it was a halftime show largely for Kendrick fans. I would have appreciated some of the older stuff making his way through. I had forgotten that he did all right back in the Dr. Dre halftime show, so maybe that's why he didn't bring that back. But I really, really enjoyed it. I understand why it's a little bit polarizing because of the type of performance it was. He killed it. I understand that he didn't ride in on a giant tiger, I think Katy Perry did. Lion?
I'm ready for the halftime show to maybe go a little bit back towards the middle. If they came to me and said, who do you think should be the halftime performer next year? I would say Lady Gaga. She's a pop act. Everybody likes Lady Gaga. She has a handful of hits that we all know. I would suggest her for next year. Do you have a suggestion for who you want to do the halftime performance next year?
Next year's San Francisco, right? I don't know.
Which Lady Gaga makes a lot of sense if you're picking San Francisco.
Yeah, how long ago did she do it last? I don't know how long it's been for. I don't know if she has. I think she's covered enough ground career-wise to probably have earned a repeat. I don't have an answer off the top of my head that seems like the way to go. But as I was looking back at the Dr. Dre one, we kicked around yesterday, I do think that the reason that worked so well was because it felt like the Avengers of LA rap. Like, you had so many of those cameos, and you get a track from Kendrick, a track from Eminem. I think that might be my inclination, which is to say, hey, let's go ahead and make this a bigger spectacle where you kind of have like the MC superstar and all of their supporting cast. Anderson .Paak was playing the drums in LA. He was just there to drum by and large. So I like that direction, I think.
When you think back to Super Bowl 59, what's going to stand out the most to you from Kansas City? We can talk about the Philadelphia side of things, and they were obviously very, very impressive. But you and I watched every snap of this Chiefs season. What stood out to you the most on Sunday?
I think it was the degree of whooping that it was. And then that is accentuated by it being Patrick Mahomes' first bad Super Bowl. Back in Tampa, obviously, that game was no good, but that was an offensive line of backups and guys playing out of position. The offensive line is going to be, I think, the secondary thing I remember from the game on Sunday, because it was so clearly pushing that snowball that just rolled down the hill. But Mahomes didn't make it better. In fact, he made it worse for the first time. Again, the first time since their last playoff loss against the Bengals. I think that, to me, is where it really stands, that I have sort of a sadness in the fact that not even Mahomes could hang his hat on that effort and say, at least I was trying to do what I could to give my team a chance. He made it worse. Nothing was working on offense. It was a total offensive pantsing. I think that's going to be the thing that sticks out.
What really, I guess, disappointed me the most about Andy is, and I led the show with this, is the worst thing you can be is stubborn. If you see that something is not working, you have to humble yourself and say, hey, my original plan is not working. Let's switch things up. I mean, they ran these 5 out there from the offensive line, and it was obvious that the left side was not working. You had a break-in case of emergency option with DJ Humphries. You got to go to that. The same criticism that many people had for the Tampa Bay Super Bowl about, hey, why don't you chip? Why don't you have more tight ends in the game to just give your quarterback that extra layer of protection? It feels like the Chiefs had a game plan. They came into it. Philadelphia read their game plan perfectly, and the Chiefs just had no counter to anything that the Eagles did.
Yeah, and I don't know how you enter that game without having a planned adjustment. Like, if things go poorly, here's how we're going to move the pocket a little more. Put Mahomes on the run to his right. And look, the Eagles were even kind of closing off the gate on some of the stuff when they tried to do that. But no, I'm 100% with you. I would have made that change at halftime at the absolute latest, but I never expected the Chiefs to actually do that. I never expected Andy Reid to do that. I think the Houston game in the divisional round was the last chance they had because Andy Reid will stick with what's working. Like, I'm putting that in air quotes because that's why he justifies keep Tooney at tackle and Caliendo at guard, or even the running back rotations as they come and go. By and large, Andy Reid doesn't want to shake up something that's working out. And by the time they got to halftime, at that point, you could have put like literally anyone at left tackle. It wouldn't have changed how that game panned out, but it should have been DJ Humphries at least in the second half. And look, this is like another kind of deep hypothetical, but I fully expected Kingsley Suamataia to start in week 3. They bailed on that really early. Then they bailed on Wanya Morris, and then they bailed on DJ Humphries. Now look, those guys were not playing good football at the left tackle position, but to get all the way to the Super Bowl against that defensive line that has that matchup problem, defensive ends with long arms and Joe Tooney with short ones playing tackle, a backup guard looking like a deep backup guard, I really am frustrated that there was not to your point, to your turn of phrase, there was a break glass in case of emergency option there. They never broke the glass even as everything was burning down around them. And I would have liked to have seen Humphries get a chance to do that from the jump in the playoffs. You could have always gone back to Tooney Caliendo if Humphries was letting you down. The inverse was probably never going to happen. Clearly it was never going to happen because it didn't happen during a disaster.
I'm not saying that a change in left tackle would have changed anything, right? I'm not saying that. They were so far down. That was not just a Mike Caliendo, Joe Tooney problem. That was a problem with everybody. But I just would have liked to have seen them try. And the fact that it's like that gif from the show Community, I've never seen it before, but you know the one I'm talking about. Childish Gambino is holding the pizza. He walks into the room, and the room is on fire. Well, that is Andy Reid holding his tablet, holding his play sheet, walking into a burning building. Hey, I want to at least feel like you understand the sense of urgency here, and at least for me, there was still a point in that game where I thought Kansas City had a chance. They were down 17-0. They got the ball. They had just forced a punt from Philadelphia. There's 2 minutes left, and I'm thinking to myself, if you can figure out a way to score here, you then get the ball first in the second half. You can then double up. This can be a 17-10, 17-14 kind of game, and you are right back in it. And then to see Joe Tooney pushed all the way back into Mahomes, he's uncomfortable. He throws an interception. You now are going to give Philadelphia the ball 1st and 10 from the Kansas City 14-yard line. I mean, you might as well go start the car. You might as well tell your girlfriend to go grab her coat. The game is over then at that point. I just wanted to feel like there was a sense of urgency, and I didn't really get that from anybody on the team.
No, I agree 100%, and I think the only guy that was showing some sort of sense of urgency was Mahomes, which was actually pushing him into a bad place of just trying to throw everything, but nothing was open, and he never had any time, and so you get some of those ill-advised throws that we saw from him, and I'll even say that I was giving them maybe one more drive. When DeAndre Hopkins dropped that pass right before the half, that's when it really took away. Okay, well, if you score here, you score when you get the ball back, then you're down 10, giving the ball back to Philly, there's at least a football game to be had there. That was never going to happen. And really, the pick that you're calling to there, deep in their own territory, it felt like when Mahomes dropped back there, when the Chiefs got the ball there, it was clear. There was just as good a chance of something terrible happening to Kansas City as there was anything semi-positive. And you're right. I would have loved some sort of pivot to say that plan A isn't working. Let's go ahead and open up plan B because we have to be here for 30 more minutes of football. We can't just leave right now. And I don't know if the Chiefs packed a plan B with them to New Orleans. That's the thing that kind of freaks me out is that was not a that was not an unpredictable Eagles strategy, right? That is exactly what they do. That is exactly what Vic Fangio does. He does not want to blitz, and they didn't have to, so they didn't. And so a four-man rush was not only beating your five, there were times a four-man rush beat seven. The Chiefs had to know that's what Philly was going to do philosophically. I think they played a lot more cover four, which is something that Mahomes has struggled with a little bit. But we've seen this version of the Chiefs offense for so long, kind of a somewhat neutered, kind of take what you can get strategy. Maybe that would have worked against Philly if they had any time whatsoever, but they had no time whatsoever. It's the worst half of offense we've seen this team play in this era. And the second half looked far, far, far too similar, even after most of the hope was gone.
Right now, we're talking to Joshua Briscoe. His appearance are brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shields of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of blue. Josh, can you tell me how a game of this magnitude you only call 7 run plays? They called 7 over a full 60-minute game. And I don't want to hear, oh, they got blown out. This game was close for at least the first 30 minutes of the game, and they called 7 run plays? How does that happen?
The first 3 drives, they called 10 plays total. The next drive, they had 3 more. That was the pick six, made it 17-0. The next drive was 3 more. It's a bad balance. I'm not like, yeah, that's fine and normal. But like all of those volume stats from early in the game, they could not do literally anything. And so I think Andy Reid he does the thing he does every once in a while where he totally goes into his shell and says, we can't run the football, so we're not going to run the football, and just take the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. That's something I'm generally down with. Here's the thing that to me is even worse than 3 carries for Kareem Hunt and 3 carries for Isaiah Pacheco and 1 for Samaje Perine. The thing that really was exposed there is that sometimes the Chiefs can leave the running game to some extent. Not to this extent, but sometimes they can leave the running game and replace it with the short passing game. You have Xavier Worthy. You have Samaje Perine. You can do it with Kareem Hunt. They've tried to do it with Isaiah Pacheco at times. Travis Kelce a few yards at a time. Like with not Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown notwithstanding, this is largely a group of pretty slow skill position players. But what you can do sometimes, maybe it's Worthy in the screen game, is just get yourself those 3-4 yards at a time that you let Patrick Mahomes be perfect, and you can replace the running game with the passing game. The problem was Mahomes was far from perfect, extremely far from perfect, and they could not even do that stuff. So I think it's a totally fair gripe. I just barely have any more energy for it because it's just another one of the 15 things that were totally inept on Sunday. And yeah, it does deserve conversation. It's just one of many things that deserves it. Another reason also, they should have done something else on the offensive line.
Right now, we're talking to our guy, Joshua Briscoe. Do you have Jalen Hurts as the 5th best quarterback in the league? That big 4 feels like it's pretty cemented. I mean, I know Jalen Hurts just had a great postseason. I'm not ready to, put him ahead of Lamar or Burrow or Allen or Mahomes. I'm not at that point. But it does feel like that 5th spot is open, and it's up to interpretation. You might put Matthew Stafford there. Somebody might put somebody else there. There's a bunch of different players that you would put there. Do you now think that that's Jalen Hurts' spot after what we just saw on Sunday?
I don't. I mean, I'm not really in any hurry to do that for him. I think, and frankly, I'm kind of pulling up a list now to think, all right, would I take him over this guy, that guy, this guy, that guy? It was a really good run for Jalen Hurts, and he's a very good football player. That's objectively true. But he's also surrounded by an outrageous cast of skill position players, an incredible offensive line in front of him. He made the throws he needed to make. He can kill you with his legs. That's really, really valuable. But I think he's got another entire year before he kind of clears that maybe the Josh Allen bump of a couple years ago where you go like dangerous, fun player, but is he top 5? I'm not there with Hurts at this point. I think he did what he needed to do with all of the guys around him. And that particular phrasing of Jalen Hurts, like, what do you need him to do? Can he do that for you? He did everything Philadelphia needed him to do throughout all of these playoffs. That is noble. That counts for something. But for me, he's still probably closer to 10 than he is to 5.
I don't think that anyone will talk about this past maybe today or tomorrow, but the throw that Mahomes made to Xavier Worthy to score that final touchdown might be the best throw that he's made in his career. That is a remarkable downfield absolute laser. it will be one of those forgotten plays in Super Bowl history. Rob always makes fun of me for this, but you remember that catch that Julio Jones had during the 28-3 comeback? No one ever talks about it because they talk about Edelman's catch, but Julio Jones had an equally as impressive catch on the sideline. There weren't a whole lot of bright spots and things that happened on Sunday. That throw from Mahomes to Worthy was a dot.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And I'll give you the glass half full, glass half empty. Glass half full, that should be a major focal point of the offense next year. Glass half empty, that should have been a major focal point of the offense this year. And we saw them testing that in St. Joe. And obviously they lose Hollywood early and they lose Rashee Rice early. And so we know all about the domino effect of what this season entailed. But we know Patrick Mahomes can still deliver that football. We saw him do it on Sunday. That's very encouraging. Xavier Worthy should be the only player on offense who gets to feel like he had a good day, because I think he probably was, and honestly looked really good out there on a variety of levels. That was both encouraging and devastating in that way, though, where it's like, oh, well, where's that been? Not just all game, because in this game there was very little time. Although, again, Xavier Worthy is extremely fast, and you don't need that much time. You can organize a few little things to protect your quarterback for an extra half second to let him try one of those deep shots. But it feels like that largely left the offense, frankly, around the time they started giving Xavier Worthy more to do. Like those deep downfield sideline shots where two of them were on Mahomes and one of them was on Worthy, in my book at least. That sort of disappeared kind of around that Buffalo game where he picked up after that and started doing more in the offense. I want to see that, but I think there is a philosophical need for self-evaluation for the Chiefs offense this season. I think they have some of the pieces to retool in a way that makes them explosive again, but it's been a different team since Tyreek Hill. We know that. We've seen them replace it and win Super Bowls, plural, in that era. That's still incredible, but I think we've seen the limits of kind of a stale version of this Chiefs offense. I think it's going to look pretty different next year, or at least I hope it does.
I think this is worse than Tampa Bay. Do you agree?
I do, because Mahomes also played worse. It was a more overall shellacking from Philadelphia, and it was a worse day for Mahomes. I think this is worse than Tampa.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just all of it. Like, I kind of think that most people have sort of Men in Black flashy thing, the Tampa Bay one. Like, it was COVID, it was weird. Like, most people have been like, oh, it was just one of those things that happens. This is one of those losses that you really got to sit in as a fan base. You got to sit in as a player, a coach. Like, you got to really wear this one in a way that Kansas City didn't really wear the last beatdown.
Yep, I think that's 100% true. And the other thing about this one that obviously the last one didn't have, and I don't think any more of them will ever have, is that there was almost certainly one chance at this particular bit of history. I had Matt Verderam on last night. I know you've had him on throughout the season and everything. And he wrote something in SI I thought was really interesting, talking about how the Chiefs did stamp their claim into the great dynasties of NFL history, you know, all of from the Packers to the Patriots, kind of those top tier teams. The Chiefs elevated into that territory last year, going back to back, having 3 rings in this stretch. But they had a chance to eclipse all of those teams on Sunday, and they couldn't do it. That, I think on some level you want that hurt, because that is the thing that really stings, that you're probably not going to get another chance at, even in the midst of an incredible era of Chiefs football. The beatdown was worse, your superstar, untouchable quarterback was worse, and the loss of a chance at history, an incredibly rare, the first ever chance at this particular kind of history, all goes down the drain at the same time on the biggest stage in incredible fashion, and it still was a worse day for Drake than it was for the Chiefs.
What do you think happens with Travis Kelce?
I think he's back for one more year at this point. I would lean towards that. I lean towards him fulfilling the 2-year contract when he signed it. I know it kind of ebbed and flowed. I've been 60-40 one more year. I think the loss probably makes it a little more likely that he comes back. I'm leaning that way right now.
That is our guy, Joshua Briscoe, joining us on the show. His appearance is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shields of Kansas City. Discover the benefit of the blue. Josh, I appreciate you, man. Not sure when you're coming on again, not because there's any beef, but sadly, football season has reached its conclusion.
Yeah, and I keep looking. Are the Royals good again? When did that happen?
Last year, they actually made the playoffs. They won a series last year in the playoffs.
I had them on a little screen during a Chiefs game at some point this season, but I had no idea that was a play. Well, this is very exciting. I'm going to go learn everything about baseball that I've deleted over the last year or so, and we'll talk to you when I can talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Come back and you know what? If you want your baseball fix, this is certainly the show to give it to you. Rob, if there's one thing that we do really well, it's regular season baseball. Oh, my goodness. You're telling me Royals Guardians in May? This is the show to lock in on. We got you. If you want to break down that 6th inning hit or run, oh my goodness, this is your platform. This is your show. We're going to dominate this baseball season, Rob, in a way that we've never dominated before. We got to up our game. We're on FM now, so we got to bring it.
If you were looking for why did Cotrera go to John Schreiber in the 6th, I have the show for you.
That's why we're here. No, 100%.
This show will not waste time talking about hypotheticals or rap beef or Two America Foods. No. It'll all be about the 8th inning on this here program.
I don't even know what any of those things are once opening day happens, it's locked in. It's treating every baseball game like a football game, analyzing it and breaking it down and making sure that you get the most comprehensive baseball coverage in Kansas City right here on 96.5 The Fan. I will ask you guys this question. 913-586-7965. Is Jalen Hurts now a top 5 quarterback in your opinion? Because there is a big 4. No question, there is a big 4. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow. Now, Jalen Hurts was great. He wasn't that great where I'm going to put him ahead of those other 4 individuals. No disrespect to the man. I understand that he has a Super Bowl and Burrow doesn't. I understand that he has a Super Bowl and Lamar and Josh Allen have never even played for a Super Bowl. I can't in good conscience now say, well, Jalen Hurts is now the 2nd best quarterback in the league. I'm not there. Maybe you are. I'm not there. But is he now the 5th best quarterback in the league? Because that 5th spot, I think, is pretty open for interpretation on who you think that 5th is. Maybe you think it's Matthew Stafford. Maybe you think it's Jared Goff. Maybe you think it's, I don't know, whoever you think that it is. But Jalen Hurts, to me, now is certainly in the conversation of it. I don't think I'd put him at 5th. I'd really have to think. Really have to sit here and write it down and really fully flesh things out. And I'm not prepared to do that yet for Jalen Hurts. But he certainly has entered the conversation. Those 4 quarterbacks that I mentioned, they are the elite. Those are the one-of-ones. Those are the guys that I think are eventually heading to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They are in Tier 1. And then there is a Tier 2. Has Jalen Hurts now, with this Super Bowl win, and more specifically his performance in the Super Bowl, has he now moved himself to the top of Tier 2? Because if we are looking at other quarterbacks that the Chiefs have played in the big game, that throw that he made to Devontae Smith is the same throw that I saw Jimmy Garoppolo miss to Emmanuel Sanders in the middle of the field. That same throw that I saw Jalen Hurts make is the throw that Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't make, the same throw that Brock Purdy couldn't make in 2 Super Bowls ago. Hurts has got an argument now for being a top 5 quarterback. That's how one game can change your perception. I think that's too high. I still would put less accomplished quarterbacks underneath him, but the way that he played, how impressive it was, what he has been able to do in a very short period of time, he at least makes you enter the thought that now he is a top 5 QB in the league. Where are you at?
So our answers are very similar. If you ask for Rob's list, Rob's rankings of top quarterbacks in the NFL, I think I agree with Josh Briscoe. I think he's closer to 10 than he is 5. I think the big 4 all come in ahead of him. I think that's kind of obvious. I then think you probably have a grouping of players I think are more talented than him. Like, if I ask myself, who would I rather have quarterback a game, Jalen Hurts or Jaden Daniels? I think I might take Jaden Daniels in that world. Like, I think he's closer to 10 than 5. But in May, June, July, when First Take and Breakfast Ball and whatever national program you watch starts doing these lists, or when the NFL Top 100 come out, I think people are going to have him in the top 5, and I don't think I can yell and scream if you have him in your top 5. I probably have him at 6, 7, 8, but I don't think it's absurd. He's been in 2 Super Bowls. How many quarterbacks in the NFL have multiple appearances? It's what? Russell Wilson, who's washed, Patrick Mahomes, who's the best, him? Is there another quarterback in the NFL right now with multiple Super Bowl appearances? No. He has a win. There aren't a lot of guys in the league with a win.
There's not.
So in a culture that is rings dominated, I think he is going to end up in the top 5. But if you ask my personal listing, I would have him outside of it. But I don't think it's egregious to have him there.
It is funny, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's funny to me. Hurts is kind of getting the respect that I would say that Nick Sirianni is maybe not getting today. I don't know if Nick Sirianni has now jumped into a lot of people's top 5, even though Nick Sirianni has done everything that you just said Jalen Hurts has done. Hurts did much more for his Q rating, I think, on Sunday than what we saw Nick Sirianni do. I still think 5 is too high for Jalen Hurts, and I am maybe, I don't want to say prisoner of the moment, or I'm being overly critical, but I will say this about Jalen Hurts. He works for them, and ultimately, that is all that matters. I do feel like what we do with some of these quarterbacks, it's, well, if you took Jalen Hurts off the Eagles and you put him on the Vikings, well, he doesn't play for the Vikings. He plays for the Eagles. He works for that team. He works for that organization. And whatever it is, it just works. He has success. They play well. And I think you got to tip your cap to him. I really do think you got to tip your cap. Text line 913-586-7965. I'm curious now if you guys would put Jalen Hurts in your top 5. The top 4, I still think is settled. I'm not at the point where I think that Jalen Hurts is better than Joe Burrow. Maybe you are. I'm not at that point. Lamar Jackson is better than him, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, but it does feel like that 5th spot has been open for quite some time. And funny enough, there's like 7, 8 people in the league. I think you can make a real strong argument that they're one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the league. I'm curious where you guys would put Jalen Hurts. We'll continue this conversation coming up on the other side. We got Matt Verderame set to join us coming up in 20 minutes. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Attention lovebirds. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Diamonds Direct has the gifts to wow your special someone. From dazzling diamonds and trending gold to vibrant gemstones, pearls, even timepieces. With hundreds of stunning styles under $1,000 and an exquisite collection of one-of-a-kind luxury pieces. Make your moment unforgettable. The best selection, value, and service are waiting for you. Make this Valentine's unforgettable with fine jewelry for every budget. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
There are a ton of ways to kick off your day. Gym grind, endless scroll, or snooze button life. But McDonald's has a deal that levels up your morning above the rest. Now at McDonald's, mix and match your choice of a fluffy sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles and sizzly sausage McMuffin with egg for just $5. With a deal this fire, there's no better way to upgrade your mornings than with a delicious breakfast. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
This Valentine's Day, fall in love with Hy-Vee. The classic dozen roses, just $19.99. Avoid the restaurant hassle and treat your Valentine to a home-cooked meal featuring bacon-wrapped filet, salad, bakery fresh baguette, twice-baked potatoes, vegetable, and dessert for just $35 a couple. Top it off with your favorite bottle of wine or spirits from Hy-Vee's wide selection. One stop makes this Valentine's Day the sweetest ever, only at Hy-Vee.
I love Hy-Vee for so many different reasons, but one of the things I love most about Hy-Vee is their customer service. Everyone that works at Hy-Vee is awesome. And you know what else I love about Hy-Vee? I don't have to sacrifice quality and service to get low prices. Hy-Vee just dropped the price on thousands of items in every aisle, in every department, on items I buy every day, both in-store and online. Hy-Vee even match prices with the nation's biggest discount stores. So check out Hy-Vee today and get those low prices only at Hy-Vee.
Fellas, this is Cody, and let's talk about getting back to your best. Maybe you lack energy, muscle mass, feel moody, have low libido. All of it could be low testosterone. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer, and you'll find the true experts at Low T Center. But guys aren't the same, so don't settle for standard dosage TRT programs. I learned about personalized treatment at Low T Center. Get the results with a customized TRT. And for current patients, Low T Center offers a $150 referral credit when you refer a new patient. So go to lowtcenter.com to book an appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care.
When a KU versus K-State rivalry game begins, emotions run high, legends are created, school pride hangs in the balance, memories that last a lifetime will be made, because each game is the most important game in history. At least, until the next one. Get in the game with your chance to win up to $50,000. The Rivalry Riches instant ticket from the Kansas Lottery. See kslottery.com for details.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the propane tank on your grill first before hosting a tailgate.
Let's fire up. Here, let me try. Seriously? You didn't check the propane? Who wants chips?
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Salt and vinegar?
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
A great lawn is like a great sports team. It takes expertise and a little extra care to really stand out. That's where True Green comes in. They're the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour, so they know a thing or two about keeping grass looking like a fairway. Here's the best part. It's more affordable than you think, and they'll even match any competitor's price. Plus, True Green backs it all up with a satisfaction guarantee. Not happy? They'll come back between visits to make it right. Don't wait. Head to truegreen.com today. Let the pros do the work while you sit back and enjoy the results.
This afternoon, cloudy with a slight chance of light snow, high 31.
Weather brought to you by Robert Half. Robert Half's recruiting professionals use their award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. Learn more at roberthalf.com/talent today.
You're listening to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on 96.5 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
We're asking the question right now, is Jalen Hurts now in your top 5 of quarterbacks? I think there are 4 tier 1 quarterbacks in the NFL, and it's been that way, I would say, for the last handful of seasons. Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Those are the 4 best quarterbacks in the NFL. I don't care to argue the order. I just think those are the top 4. I do think that there is sort of a revolving door for who you think the 5th best quarterback in the league is. You can make a great case for Matthew Stafford. You can make a great case for Jared Goff. Justin Herbert looks the part, at least in the regular season, doesn't really look the part in the postseason. There's a handful of guys who I think at least have a claim to being the 5th best quarterback in the league. I'm curious if you guys think that Jalen Hurts now, after a Super Bowl win, if he has put himself in that conversation. All right, we have not had a chance yet to talk about the halftime show. I want to give you guys my opinion on the halftime show. Now, I've seen Kendrick in concert 5 times. I went back and I was thinking as I was getting ready for the show, how many times have I actually seen him? I've seen Kendrick in concert 5 times. His last show for his last album, not the most recent one, he hasn't gone on tour for that yet, was one of the best concerts that I ever went to. After watching this show, I think he is an arena artist and not a stadium artist. I think it's a very small group of people that have a stadium appeal. I don't think that was Kendrick. And I say this as someone who has been listening to Kendrick for a long time. I don't think that was a set list for the masses either. If you're somebody like Rob, you like Kendrick Lamar's music, but you wouldn't say that you're a big fan. Rob, I don't think you've ever seen Kendrick in concert before, but you certainly know his music. You've heard a couple of songs. That's not really what the set list was. I don't even think the performance was sort of put together for mass appeal. That was a show that if you love Kendrick Lamar, you really enjoyed the halftime show. That is exactly what you wanted it to be. That is exactly what you expected him to do. If you're a casual fan, or you just like Kendrick Lamar, or if this was your first time being introduced to his music, I don't think that was a good halftime show. I didn't like the set list. I hate with Kendrick, we got to do these, there's this greater meaning, and then we start trying to explain it. I just want to sit down on the couch and watch a 13-minute performance. I don't need to look up all the, I don't know why we got to do that every time with him. I would give the halftime show a 6.5. And I say this as someone who likes Kendrick Lamar. I'm not his biggest fan, but I like Kendrick Lamar's music. I think it was a 6.5. I don't think that was a Super Bowl halftime performance. I think that was if you are a Kendrick fan and you went to Sprint Center and he did that show, I think you loved it. I don't know if that really translated very well to television. I also don't know if it really translated very well to a football field. Some people are football field artists. Taylor Swift, some country artists, Beyonce. The Beyonce show at halftime at Netflix felt bigger, felt more grand. She's done that a lot on that stage. I just don't think that's the kind of performance that we got for the Super Bowl. That was an NBA All-Star halftime performance. That's what that was. That was good for like the AFC Championship game. It just didn't feel like the Super Bowl to me. The other opinion that I have from the Super Bowl is the commercials are over. They're over. They had a great run, a phenomenal run. Now, maybe I'm biased because we're in Kansas City. So, people are talking about the beatdown and not the commercials. There's no commercial to talk about. There's no conversation about the commercials. What was your favorite commercial? What were the commercials that stand out? Was there one that you saw that you ran to YouTube to watch again? Is there a commercial that you're excited to see? I was trying to think of why. And I think I've come up with a couple of different reasons. Number one, I'm not really sure if it's economically feasible anymore to put great commercials during the Super Bowl halftime. I understand the volume of it and how many people are watching it, but now with the internet and the right push as a major company, we can push this thing out to people for a fraction of the price, and it can go viral, and it can get covered on Good Morning America. It can get covered on all of these platforms if we do a really good commercial. That really wasn't the case in 1995. There was only one place to see commercials. It was on television. That's not the case anymore. I also think that we are now in the YouTube, TikTok generation where if you spend enough time on the internet, you are just hit over the head constantly with funny content that the algorithm has crafted specifically to your sense of humor. Our phones know us sometimes better than we know ourselves. You get on Instagram, they know exactly what you're into. You get on TikTok, they know exactly what you're into. Television's kind of like that, but not the way that your phone is. So if every time you get on your phone and you get little 30-second dopamine hits of jokes that are directly for you, that's not what halftime commercials are. That's not what Super Bowl commercials are anymore. There's only one commercial that I really remember from the Super Bowl. It was the Seal one for Mountain Dew. It was funny. That was clever. That was really good. You got Seal being a seal and he's selling you Mountain Dew. That's good. Other than that, it's there was an Uber Eats commercial, I guess. It was funny. I laughed. I don't really remember it, to be completely honest with you about it. We didn't even really get that many great movie trailers in this one. We got the 9th Jurassic Park movie that I guess looks okay, but the last couple haven't been that good. Marvel at this point continues to insult you. Who in the hell are the Thunderbolts? I've never seen these individuals before. Then you got to ask your friend. Now he's trying to explain it to you. Well, you don't know the comics, bro. It's the Super Bowl. Give me Batman. Give me Superman. Who are the Thunderbolts? I've never seen any of these human beings before. I've never seen any of the actors in this movie before. It's just mid. That's what it is, man. We've lost recipes. We lost recipes. I want to see the halftime show get back to the middle. And I say this as someone who loves Usher. So I'm in the residency in Vegas. I say this as someone who has seen Kendrick Lamar 5 times. Let's get back to pop music. Let's get back to pop music. That wasn't pop music. It was crafted for a very specific demographic of people. Let's shoot for a halftime show that has broad appeal, that appeals to everybody. That appeals to everybody. That's fine. I'm cool with that. I don't have any issues with that. Rob, where are you at? Did you enjoy the halftime? So were you vibing at the house?
I'll start with halftime. I liked it because I respected that the entire halftime show was designed to be an attack on Drake, and I respect that level of pettiness. But to your point about it being too niche and too Kendrick fan-centric, I got a text from my mom during the halftime show, and her question was, isn't this guy being sued for some song or something? So if you don't know the beef, which she didn't, then you're not really enjoying the fact that he kept hinting at playing Not Like Us. And then my mother-in-law texted me a similar thing, and she was like, is this guy popular? I've never heard any of these songs. Now, I don't expect my mother-in-law to be listening to a lot of, Kendrick Lamar.
She hasn't been listening to the new Kendrick album, which is understandable.
I'm not saying if Humble played or if, All Right played, she'd have been like, oh, I know this one. I don't think she's key demographic for Kendrick, but he was playing stuff that even I, as a Kendrick fan, was like, it's a little bit too deep track. So we're on the same page there. With the commercials, here's my complaint, and maybe we're saying the same thing. does every commercial need 5 celebrities? Like, you can be funny with just commercial actors. It just felt like a cameo-a-palooza. Even the Uber Eats one you mentioned, which I actually enjoyed, it was Matthew McConaughey, and then it was Kevin Bacon, and then it was Greta Gerwig, who did the Barbie movie. Like, we need 3 celebrities for Uber Eats? The Hellman's one, when Harry Met Sally, you have Billy Crystal, you have Meg Ryan, and then you have Sydney Sweeney. Hellman's Mayonnaise needs 3 celebrities for a commercial? It just feels like it's bloated with, hey, look, a celebrity is you. Just be funny or be memorable. You don't need A-list celebrities to do that, and it feels like just cameo moments that just don't hit.
And this text right here, I think, sums it up perfectly. 913-586-7965. CDOT, I thought the halftime show was perfect. The message was incredible, and it certainly wasn't just targeted at Drake. I'm not watching the Super Bowl halftime show for the message and the imagery. I'm watching it for the performance. I'm watching it for the music. I'm watching it for the hits. And that's why I say, if you love Kendrick, then that was the perfect halftime show. He gave you exactly what you wanted. That is the imagery of Kendrick. He did the song everybody wanted. The presentation of setting it up with Samuel L. Jackson, that part was great. I didn't like the set list and all that other stuff. Just play the hits for me. I just don't think it was a football stadium performance. I think that was a really cool show. If you bought a ticket to go see Kendrick and you saw that show at the Sprint Center, you leave thinking, wow, that was one of the best shows I've ever seen. I just don't think it translated very well to the television. Coming up at the top of the hour, we're going to be joined by Matt Verderam. Let's get back to the foosball next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Taxes was taxing. Now taxes is relaxing when you file for free.
I can file for free? TurboTax Free Edition. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple Form 1040 returns only. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. I can file for free.
Now this is taxes. File for free with TurboTax Free Edition and get your maximum refund. No schedules except for earned income tax credit, child tax credit, and student loan interest. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
March is almost here, and college basketball is reaching its most exciting stretch of the season. Right now, new customers on FanDuel can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $150 extra bucks to bet on everything from conference clashes to tournament upsets, and even who's cutting down the nets. If you've been waiting to join FanDuel, there's no better time. The app is easy to use, and when you win, you'll get paid instantly. So visit FanDuel.com/Alex and get in on the college hoops action before March takes over. FanDuel is an official sports betting partner of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Men, this is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And though I generally talk about medicine and effective treatments for erectile dysfunction and other men's sexual health issues, today I want to talk about love. Because love is the best reason to get treated for your ED. You see, ED can cause major relationship issues. In fact, men often push their partners away when ED becomes a problem. The condition can cause depression, arguments, breakups, and even contribute to divorce. But the good news is that if you're like most men suffering with ED, you can be successfully treated at Heartland Men's Health and put a stop to the relationship stresses that ED can cause. I say this with all confidence because we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. Truly, it's likely you'll find you're performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment and get the love back in your life. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Advent Health welcomes the Casey Golf Show February 21st through 23rd at the Overland Park Convention Center. Test and buy big brands and enjoy new women's and kids programs Saturday at the show. Front door bonuses and tickets at kansascitygolfshow.com.
What does it feel like to file with TaxSlayer and get your guaranteed maximum refund? It feels like the last level of a video game, facing off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund.
All your refund belong to me.
Using the power of TaxSlayer like a secret power-up he doesn't see coming.
Only the most tax confident can defeat me.
Throwing your laptop at his video game face and watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use TaxSlayer.
Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Chiefs coverage brought to you by Park & Go, the best deals on airport parking.
Tackle your airport parking needs at Park & Go. Always the best service and always the best price at bookparkandgo.com. Open 24/7 and all spots are covered. Reserve your spot today at bookparkandgo.com. Park & Go, family owned and operated.
Hang out with Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
Let's head to the phone lines right now to be joined by Matt Verderam. He does fantastic work for Sports Illustrated. Matt, how you doing today, my guy?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic, man. You were actually in the building. You were in attendance. What was it like to be there for Super Bowl 59?
It was good. It was good. I have no complaints. It was obviously the game was incredibly lopsided. It was basically over by halftime. But yeah, beyond. I mean, it was a great atmosphere. The crowd was incredible, and New Orleans, they know how to do the Super Bowl, so it was fun.
Right now, we're talking to Matt Verderam of Sports Illustrated, just getting his thoughts on Super Bowl 59. All right, let's start with this. I led the show with this yesterday, that my biggest complaint, my biggest frustration is I thought that Andy Reid was stubborn. I thought it was pretty clear in the first, 8 to 10 minutes of the game that their plan to block Philadelphia up front was not going to work. It should be embarrassing that Philadelphia didn't have to blitz to get pressure, and at no point did it feel like Kansas City changed their offensive philosophy to try to stop that. There weren't times that they got in heavier sets or had an extra tight end or tried to have a bigger back to help kind of pass block and help protect. This team just kept operating offensively like they always had, even though they had severe breakdowns up front that cost them on Sunday against Philadelphia. You could argue it cost them a couple of years ago against Tampa Bay as well.
I thought the most perplexing part of that game and that game plan was the complete inability to do anything different for 60 minutes. So I would agree with you. I thought, look, I wrote on Friday in Sports Illustrated, if the Eagles are going to win this game, they're going to do it with a four-man rush. So they're going to win. Because if the Chiefs could have held up in protection, look, I had the all-22 view of the game. There were guys open. Not every play. I'm not trying to make it out like, if Mahomes at 3 seconds, he was off 400 yards. But they had guys in that game that were they just couldn't get the ball. They never blocked. And I couldn't understand early, nor could people sitting around me in the press box, why aren't you at least trying to run the football? Even if it's not that successful yardage-wise, 2 or 3 yards a clip, you're slowing the pass rush down. you're giving them something to think about. Why not keep in a tight end? Now, look, it's also fair to say Travis Kelce in that game, when he was asked to block, not great. If you go and watch some of the clips, and it was evident in real time, I don't want to question his effort. He's a first-ballot Hall of Famer, but his performance blocking was atrocious on certain plays and blew up certain plays, led to direct sacks. But why not try to do something else? Because if you can't block at all, you can't function. And they just could not do anything. And you're right, it was very reminiscent of Super Bowl 55, where they went into the game with a plan. It was clear early it was not going to work, and they just sat in that and did nothing. And the result was the exact same result it was 4 years ago. They got blown out of the building.
I mean, there's really two things. Number one is you and I have been talking about this now for 3 consecutive interviews. Isaiah Pacheco is not their number one running back, at least not for this season.
No.
How does Isaiah Pacheco play 25 snaps and Kareem Hunt plays 11? Like, Kareem Hunt was not part of your game plan. How do you call 7 run plays? I understand they got down. They didn't really get down until late second quarter. They called 7 run plays the entire night? Well, that explains why you lost. I have thought this way for years. This Kansas City offense is at their absolute best when they attempt to try to be balanced. Like you said, you're not saying that Kareem Hunt needed to run for 150 yards in this game. That wasn't realistic. But there was a way to get Kareem Hunt 13 carries, get him 55, 60 yards, and just take some of the pressure off Patrick Mahomes. And they had no interest in calling that kind of game.
I thought, to be very frank, I think it's the worst game Andy Reid's ever called with the Chiefs. I thought it was just elementary. The way they played the game was like a 10-year-old playing Madden. I'm going to throw the ball every down, and I don't care if we can't block. I'm just going to keep doing it. And Vic Fangio basically was like, all right, great. We're gonna 4-man rush you into oblivion because we figured out Tooney's pass set, and Caliendo is going to struggle in this game, which anyone in the world knew, and they're going to have to slide to help. And I thought, listen, I'll be even more blunt. I thought the biggest disaster in that game from a player perspective was Juwan Taylor. I don't expect Joe Tooney to be perfect in that game. The guy is playing out of position. He's being the ultimate team guy trying to help. Mike Caliendo is in there doing the best he can. He's a backup. You're asking him to go against a really good front. Like, okay, fine. Juwan Taylor's getting paid $80 million. And to be fair to Juwan Taylor, I think at times he's maligned unfairly. He takes a lot of penalties. That criticism is very fair. But I think sometimes that kind of bleeds over into just criticizing him generally about everything. He was awful in that game. You couldn't have played much worse. You can't play that way and be an $80 million right tackle. But they all sharing it. Mahomes was not good. In fact, I mean, look, you could argue Mahomes in the first half. I mean, that's the worst 30 minutes of football I think I've ever seen him play. But it all goes hand in hand. The plan wasn't good. The pass protection was terrible. And it's exacerbated by a quarterback who was feeling the pressure even when it wasn't there by about the middle of the second quarter, running into sacks, and then made, an interception, a pick six that effectively ended the game on a throw that, look, I'm sure even he knew the second he let it go. You just can't. You can't throw that ball. He does, and that's it.
When was the moment where you knew this game was over? Because
the pick six.
Yeah,
the second the ball left his hand, I could see it from my vantage. I was like, this game's done. This is 17-0.
Maybe I'm crazy. And I think a lot of it just stems from we've seen so many Chiefs games like, oh, they're not winning this one, and they figure it out. It wasn't until that second interception because they had the ball down 17-0. Now, they were backed up in the shadow of their own end zone, but they had 2 minutes left, and they had the ball. And I'm thinking all you got to do is get some points this drive. If you get 3 or you get 7, you get the ball after halftime, you got a chance to double dip. This can be a 17-14 game, a 17-10 kind of game, and then you're back in it. You weather the early storm. And on that play, I mean, their first play of that drive, Joe Tooney gets pushed all the way into Mahomes. He never got a chance to set his feet. He throws an absolute duck in the middle of the field that gets intercepted. Philadelphia gets the ball 1st and 10 from the 14-yard line. They score 3 plays later. That's when I knew the game was over.
The Chiefs did nothing right offensively. Like the box score, you'll look back, And people in 30 years will look and go, wow, 40 points, Philadelphia's offense carved them up. I actually thought the defense did everything they possibly could have. Like, they completely shut down Barkley. Hurts had a good game, but it wasn't as though Hurts threw for 350 yards. Like, he was very good. But, 17 of those points were just directly attributed to Mahomes. I mean, I thought the defense hung in there. Now, you could argue, look, a couple penalties that really hurt them. Bolton on what would have been 3rd and 26 takes a personal foul. McDuffie, look, I don't think it's a great call, but McDuffie gets called for, a 15-yarder that extends a drive. There were some calls in there that really hurt the defense. They had, Menahu getting called for being in the neutral zone onto a sack that would have ended a drive that ends up in points. So they weren't perfect either. They didn't cover themselves in glory themselves. But I think offensively, you can't play any worse. And, going forward, my main takeaway from that game, you've got to, fix left tackle above all else. I don't care what they do. I don't care how they've got to do it. That's number one. And look, Carrington, we've talked for years. Okay, this has been a problem for them forever. This has been a problem since Eric Fisher blew his knee out in the 2020 AFC Championship game. Or excuse me, his Achilles. Blew his Achilles out. This has been a problem since then. They have been cycling through guy after guy, year after year, trying to find the answer. And I know fans don't want to draft the left tackle right now because they just drafted Suamataia. They just drafted Morris a couple years ago. They got to draft another one. They do. And if they don't want to draft another one, then they got to pay one. I don't love the idea of paying Ronnie Stanley, who's 30 years old and hurt all the time. But they need to get a left tackle because this offense, it bleeds into now what is the identity of this offense, which is ridiculous. They treat Mahomes like he's Tyrod Taylor. Every throw is 4 yards. They have no explosiveness down the field, despite having a guy who runs a 4.240. This offense needs to be rebooted. They need to start to run this thing through Rice, through Worthy. They need to go down the field. It needs to be an aggressive offense, and it's not right now. Right now, it is literally, by average depth of target, the most conservative offense in the NFL.
Right now, we're joined by Matt Verderame of Sports Illustrated, getting his thoughts on the Chiefs. Are you interested in DJ Humphries coming back? Because I understand that it is a one-year Band-Aid, but if you give DJ Humphries a real offseason, a real training camp to get ready, I don't have any problem with them doing, I guess, a hybrid of those plans. Having DJ Humphrey come back, also spending a significant resource, and you can really bring that guy along. Kind of like what happened with Eric Fisher when they had Brandon Albert play left tackle. I'm not against that plan. Are you against that plan, or are you for that plan?
I'm not against bringing Humphries on a one-year deal. I am against having him penciled in as a day one starter. They've got to fix this. And look, I will argue, and honestly, we haven't talked. I don't know how you feel about this, but I will argue with anybody who sits there and says they shouldn't pay Trey Smith. I don't care if they have to pay Trey Smith 5 years, $100 million. They've got to pay Trey Smith. This offensive line, when Tooney's inside, they have the best interior in the NFL. Okay, the right tackle is going to be Jawan Taylor next year. Just from a financial standpoint, it's going to be Jawan Taylor, and then he's going to get cut after next year unless something crazy happens. They need to find the left tackle. And I don't want to hear out of the Chiefs at the Combine in 2 weeks, where I'll be. I don't want to hear them give a press conference and say, well, Suamataia, we're going to give him a run. No, you can't. We all have eyes. Nothing against Kingsley Suamataia. That was beyond a disaster this year. Wanye Morris, I think, is a fine swing tackle. And that's, by the way, a late third-round pick. That's fine. It's not a bad pick. He's not a starting left tackle. You need to go find a starting left. If that's Alaric Jackson, who's a free agent for the Rams, okay, I can hear that. Is it Cam Robinson? I don't think Cam Robinson's great, but is he in that same Eric Fisher realm? Okay, I can hear that. Ronnie Stanley's terrific. The problem with Stanley's just hurt constantly. He's probably going to get $25 million a year. If you're the Chiefs, you got to fix it, not Band-Aid it to the end of time. And I think if that means, by the way, that they lose Bolton, they lose Justin Reed, to pay Trey Smith and to pay an offense, fine. Their number one priority has to be that offensive line this offseason.
Right now, we're talking to Matt Verderame, getting his thoughts on the Kansas City Chiefs. What do you think is next for Travis Kelce?
I wrote about this after the game. I was in their locker room after the game. We spoke to him for all 90 seconds. He didn't, indicate one way or the other. He also, to be fair, wasn't asked about it. I think he's going to play one more year. I think he's going to come back and play one more year. I think that it becomes delicate, though, for the Chiefs in this regard. Look, he is still a good football player. He made the Pro Bowl this year, and it wasn't one of these, like, charity. He deserved to make it. He was, other than Brock Bowers, the second best tight end in the AFC. By the same token, he physically is a shell of who he was 2 years ago. They need to start running this offense through Xavier Worthy, who is, look, of that Super Bowl is a massive bright spot. They need to run it through Rashee Rice when he gets back from what might be a suspension or certainly just his injury. Kelsey needs to be a third option, a fourth option in this passing game, where they can go, hey, Travis, listen, we're going to give you half the first-team reps during the week. I know he likes to practice every rep. That can't be his choice anymore. They've got to keep him fresh. Instead, he averages for his career about 135 targets per season. That number's got to be like 90. It's got to be, maybe even a little lower than that. Like, they've got to start putting him in bubble wrap. And, look, the Pats and the Bucs did that with Gronk the last handful of years of his career. Like, there's no shame in that. But if Kelsey next year has 120 targets, that's a failure. Like, they have to just start to move on in terms of who is leading the offense. And to be fair to them, I think they were going to do that this year. And then Rice got hurt, and then Brown got hurt, and they had no choice. But that's got to be the plan moving forward. I think you split time with Noah Gray. And then, listen, you pull Kelsey out of the garage when you need him for 3 or 4 big games. But I think it's time to recognize the fact that when Rice and Worthy are both healthy and on the field, there's no question that those guys are better options than Kelsey at this point in his career.
I got one, off-season question. I do want to have you on once we get closer toward the off-season and we start to kind of figure these things out, what they want to do and what they don't want to do. Are you interested in bringing Hollywood Brown back?
Yeah, I am. I think Hollywood Brown is a good fit because, Carrington, I watched that Super Bowl like everybody else, and I would imagine had a similar takeaway. They need explosiveness on this offense. They just, when you've got Hopkins out there and Watson and Juju, they can't run. Other than Worthy, they don't have speed. Hollywood Brown gives them that. And to be fair to Hollywood Brown, his production wasn't great at the end of the year. The guy's coming back. At the very end of the year, he's trying the best he can to get involved. I'm not going to sit there and parse his stats the last month of the year. I thought he came in. I thought he was a consummate pro. I would bring him back. I'd bring him back on a short-term deal. Now, look, some team goes out and offers him 3 and 30. Fine, but I don't think it's going to happen based off of what the season he just had and the injury. I think if you're the Chiefs, I think you go into next year saying, okay, look, if we're going to carry 6 receivers, you got Worthy, you got Rice. I would bring Brown back. I would bring Remigio back as a full-time player, just as a return man. So that leaves you 2 spots, and maybe that's signing 1 vet. And maybe that's drafting a kid in the mid-round. Or maybe that's even, look, who knows? Maybe they'll even bring back Sky Moore again. And then that's one of the guys. But I just think if you're Kansas City, you've got to move forward with the idea of, and this includes the running backs, we are getting faster. We are getting more dynamic. We are going to fix this offensive line and have speed all over the field. And we're going to allow Mahomes to be the best version of himself. Because the last 2 years, and listen, it's worked. They won a Super Bowl. They went to another one. They've asked that guy to basically be Alex Smith the last 2 years. And that's just, with all due respect to Alex Smith, that's a denigration of Mahomes' talent. You've got to allow him to be him. And they're not doing that because they can't hold up and because they have no dynamicism outside of a 1 year of Rice and about half a season worth of Worthy.
That is our guy, Matt Verderam, joining us on the show today. He does fantastic work with Sports Illustrated. Matt, I'm a little bit sad because our weekly appearances, they have come to an end, man. I appreciate your time, man. Thanks a lot for popping on today.
Anytime. Take care.
Absolutely. That's Matt Verderam joining us on the show. I love what he said at the end. Tomorrow, we are going to have some uncomfortable conversations about the Chiefs and what I think they should do this offseason. But it is so refreshing to hear that Matt Verderam and I have the same outlook on what they need to do. The Chiefs need to get faster. They need to be more dynamic on offense. This is maybe where I am on the opposite side of other people when we talk about weapons and talent and why guys have good years. You want to know why Joe Burrow put up a phenomenal season this year? Because you gave him the best receiver in the National Football League, and T. Higgins, a guy who's going to sign, 4 for $80 million? And having that kind of weapon and having that kind of player, it transforms your entire offense, which allows you to put up those numbers. It is not a surprise to me that as Travis Kelce, as their number one target, has started to decline, you have simultaneously seen a worse and worse version of Patrick Mahomes. He was their number one option. I know that was not the plan. I know it was not intended. And at this point in his career, you thought it would be Worthy. You thought it would be Rashee Rice, and an injury happened. I get all of that. Their number one pass-catching option was a 35-year-old tight end that does not fit either of those two words. We all love Travis. He is not fast. He is not dynamic at this stage in his career. That's not saying that I don't want Travis back for this team, but there needs to be an emphasis on skill position players that fit this category. We need to get faster and more dynamic at running back. That's not hoping to get 3.7 yards per carry and the text line telling me, well, if you gave the guy the ball 3 times, you'd get a first down. No, that's not fast. That's not dynamic. They need one more of those options in the passing game. They need to emphasize that at tight end. They need to emphasize younger, faster, more dynamic. And their 3 most important options this year were a tight end he either is going to end his career this season or end it next year. It is almost over for Travis Kelce. It is a running back who is 29 years old that clearly is on the wrong side of his prime, and Xavier Worthy, who is fast, dynamic. We need more of that. I'm so happy. I'm thrilled to hear that Matt Verderame agrees with me. That is going to be my message. That is going to be my message. You guys are going to be tired of me saying this. They need to get faster and more dynamic on offense. And sometimes those things cost. I know in the salary cap, it has you convinced that you can't pay anybody. Let's not pay Nick Bolton and let's give that money to a wide receiver. Maybe you don't end up paying Trey Smith and you give that to a legitimate number 1, number 2 wide receiver. Fast, more dynamic. That is the message that I have for the Kansas City Chiefs. They have let their offense go. It's time to retool. Enough trying to make it work with Samaje Perine and Carson Steele. Enough. 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 I don't want it anymore. Faster and more dynamic. This is day 1 of that message. You will hear this message every day for the next 30 days until free agency starts, until we start figuring out what they're going to do. That is my message.
I mean, we will have these uncomfortable conversations on this show, but winning kind of covered this, and we touched on it on the show, but winning kept happening, and you know how the text line is when the team's winning. It's shut up, they're winning. Man, the Chiefs' offense was pretty mediocre this year by their own standards. I remember I got cooked on the text line when I said week 5, week 6, Josh Allen's playing better quarterback this year than Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen was playing better quarterback this year than Patrick Mahomes. Josh Allen didn't have light years better weapons, but he was better. I looked it up. I saw this stat earlier today that the EPA of the Chiefs this year was the worst it's been in the Patrick Mahomes era. They're usually first or second, and basically, it's nerd core analytics, but they're basically first or second in every offensive category. They are going to be good every year at the top of the line in those categories. Yeah, here it is. Yards per play in the Patrick Mahomes era. They are first or second every year. Last year, 9th. That's dip. That's life. You're still top 10 in yards per play. This year, they were 22nd. The idea that, Kareem Hunt still got it, he didn't. Isaiah Pacheco's coming back. He'll fix the problem. Didn't. The plan on paper was great. I do think the idea of Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy on paper looked great. We never got to see it in real life, so we'll never know. But they got a lot of big questions this offseason. One of them is, why did the offense go from top 10 in yards per play to bottom third in the NFL? That just, it cannot happen when Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback. Someone's got to atone for that.
Text line 913-586-7965. C-Dot, you've been saying it's Kelsey's last year for the past 3 years. I have not been saying that. I remember exactly when I said on the show, when you guys got mad at me, I said that I think Travis Kelce is aging. I said it last year after the Vikings game. I remember it. So I've been saying it for a year and a half that I feel this way about Travis Kelce. I've been the only one. I've been mocked for my opinion on Travis Kelce. I have been the only one who has been honest about Travis Kelce for the last year and a half. Someone is saying, C-Dot, you're saying this just because it didn't work for one game. I have been saying this all season. My takes don't change on some of these things. They don't change. We can't go back, but we can go forward. I want them to spend a significant resource on a running back this offseason. Not a 7th-round pick, not a guy who was available in week 1. Spend a significant resource on a running back. This is a great running back draft. Significant doesn't mean the first round. You can get a good second round, a good third round. Spend a top 100 pick on a running back, a guy who can be a Pro Bowl caliber and all-pro caliber player. The Chiefs haven't spent money on wide receiver in 3 years. They haven't invested resources. They've been going to the Walmart DVD bin for wide receiver. I don't want them to do that this offseason. Spend a little bit of money. A little bit. You don't got to go out and get T. Higgins. There's going to be good wide receivers in that $8 to $10 million range that are good players. Spend the money and go get one of them. The Chiefs currently, they have healthy. They had one offensive player who you would say is in his prime or about to enter his prime. The team they went up against had 4. That was a drastic difference offensively. And a team that was positioned that if you took their run game away, it's cool. I'm throwing it to A.J. Brown. I'm throwing it to Devontae Smith. I'm throwing it to Dallas Goedert. You can take away our run game. We have enough weapons on the outside. You guys have an all-pro corner? Well, he's too small for our number one wide receiver. We can take advantage of that. The Chiefs just don't have really many players on offense that can take advantages of mismatches, and that's what they need to get back to. Keep it right here, it's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Cody and Gold once again telling you about our friends over at Centric, and we've all been dealing with this brutal weather in Kansas City. Maybe you work outside, and look, you've just had enough. Well, you can start a brand new career with our friends over at Centric because they allow you to advance your career on your time with their flexible schedule.
Classes start in February. You get to choose your curriculum, go with that new career path, and stop worrying about what the weather will do for you. Call our guy, Russ Mondry. He's been with Centric for 16 years and will be with you to guide you every step of the way. Go to Centric.com now.
Attention lovebirds. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Diamonds Direct has the gifts to wow your special someone. From dazzling diamonds and trending gold to vibrant gemstones, pearls, even timepieces. With hundreds of stunning styles under $1,000 and an exquisite collection of one-of-a-kind luxury pieces. Make your moment unforgettable. The best selection, value, and service are waiting for you. Make this Valentine's unforgettable with fine jewelry for every budget. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Wouldn't you like to take a vacation from your bills? Well, you can. With credit card balances at an all-time high and Golden Oak's 5.25% rate, you could be saving thousands of dollars after a simple phone call. Call today and get your cash in as little as 14 days and make no payments for 2 months. Call 913-890-GOLD.
Golden Oak Lending, cured my blues.
6.19 APR, FHA, 15-year, 20% equity qualified credit. Additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
Brew Brothers at Harris, Kansas City, now open. Dine on mouth-watering appetizers, then feast on one of our 6 American Wagyu burgers, including the Bacon Jam Burger and Blazing Burger. Wash it down with your favorite ice-cold beverage, all while watching the game on one of our 45 TVs. Dine in or carry out. Brew Brothers at Harris, Kansas City always hits the spot. Brew Brothers and Brew Brothers Express are now open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. 21 or older to gamble. Know when to stop before you start. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-BETS-OFF.
In the time it takes you to actually board that flight from Group 8,
Now boarding Premier Altitude Elite Club members.
you could have bought a Hyundai on Amazon. Yes, that Amazon, where you buy everything else.
Mid-tier Altitude Elite, feel free to board now.
So while you're waiting for them to make up new boarding groups, you can order your dream car and the dealer will have it ready in no time.
Now boarding groups 1 through 7.
Oh, so close. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details. Limited availability, pickup through participating Hyundai dealer in select markets.
Jake from State Farm. I'm winning. I finally cleaned my house, so I'm breaking out my new tropical room spray.
Keep winning and create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. It's like your own personal paradise.
Ooh, hey, grab me a coconut water.
Bundling, just another way to save with a personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
All right, everybody, it's here. The March to Spring Training and Opening Day is officially upon us. Hey, I'm Rob Bradford from Baseball Isn't Boring, and we'll have you covered every single day with instant reactions to late-breaking signings, determining which players are, yes, truly in the best shape of their lives, and behind-the-scenes stories from all the excitement and intrigue that spring training brings. Follow Baseball Isn't Boring in the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Kansas side, K10 eastbound, still pretty heavy from K7 out towards Woodland with problem off on the shoulder. Heading into downtown, 70 westbound a bit slow as you make your way from Truman into the downtown loop. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's Nick Bolton, MIZ. Welcome to The Drive with C-Dot on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Rob, let me ask you this, brother. Do you think they're lying about the snow? Do you think it's coming?
I think it's coming. I don't think it's 8-9 inches. I think it's a nice 3 to 6. But I think there's snow coming, yeah.
Because I'm looking online, and my guy Jacob Lanier, he's with Fox 4, and he just tweeted out, our snow chances really go up after midnight with moderate snow in Kansas City all of Wednesday morning. Snow ends a tad earlier, now around 3 p.m. on Wednesday, which is why the total snow forecast is slightly down from 3. Now it's at 3 to 6 inches. I really hate the snow. This does feel like this is the last one, though. Maybe I'm projecting.
Don't be saying that. It
feels like this is the last one we're having for the year. This last little wave, we got the big one earlier, and now this feels like this isn't as big as the last snowstorm. The last one, they were talking about it. They ended up being 100% right. I'm not looking forward to it. Are you looking forward to it?
No. On a Wednesday, too.
I just don't know who likes this.
If it was like a Friday, like I gotta go play in it, like do some sledding or something fun on Saturday, maybe like a Wednesday, trudge through it for work. No thanks.
Someone on the text line says my job is already called in. Yeah, I mean, we already got the email of get y'all ass to work. That's what the email said. The email said we don't care. You better go get some snow tires. That was the email we got. These sports takes aren't gonna deliver themselves. So I was like, all right, hey, I'll just be up here a little earlier, man, playing college football. I gave Rob the business in college football earlier. You see how Rob only want to talk when he beats me in the game. When I smoke Rob, you see he quiet. He ain't got nothing to say. Nothing. Hasn't even mentioned it. Rob ain't even talked to me since then. It was I was Philadelphia. He was the Chiefs. It was a beatdown with West Virginia. We got a rule that you can't pick teams that are over 85 overall. West Virginia was out there, boom, 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 lasers. See, Rob, he ain't got nothing to say because he knows.
I got worked.
Because he knows.
Cooked.
Let's get back to serious football things. Somebody right now is very mad that we took that detour. You said last week on this show that you would consider the season a failure if the Chiefs didn't win the Super Bowl. I want to double back per your last email and just see where you are now. Now that the season has completed itself, we are done. We know who the Super Bowl champion is. We are heading towards the offseason. There's no parade. There's no championship rally or whatever they had planned. Do you still feel that way? Do you feel like the Chiefs season was a failure now that we know how it ended?
I still maintain it was a failure because success or failure for a season is determined by expectations. Is that fair? Probably not, but that's the way we do it. The analogy I have used and will continue to use is Kentucky basketball one year was undefeated in the regular season and went to the Final Four. Those are two accomplishments that every basketball playing school in America hangs a banner for. And Kentucky probably hung a banner for that. We went to the Final Four. They were undefeated, and the thought was no one can beat that team. They lost in the Final Four to Wisconsin. I think Kentucky fans, if you ask them, they look back at that season and they say, boy, that was a failure. Despite the fact cool stuff happened along the way. It broke the record for most first-round picks that year. They went undefeated. They achieved a lot of things, and those moments, they'll have them forever. But the ultimate goal, because of the expectation for that team, was title or bust, and they busted. In Kansas City, when Patrick Mahomes, a year ago, is on the stage talking about how he wants 3, and then at the championship parade, talks about getting the Arrowhead Invitational back and going, and they want 3, and when they started talking all offseason long about the idea of a three-peat, when it was championship or bust, when it was history in the making, when it was we are going to be different, we are going to be special, it is all-time glory for us, you cannot lose in the Super Bowl and have me say, well, you know what, you did a lot of cool things along the way. No, those cool things are forgotten to history. Much like how you love the Julio Jones catch, in 5 years, no one will know what you're talking about because he lost. No one in 5 years is going to say, hey, remember that Chiefs season where they blocked the kick to win the game? Oh, yeah, that was awesome, man. How did it end? Oh, they lost the Super Bowl. That season was a failure. Their own expectations made it championship or bust, and they busted. And it stinks, but it was a failure.
Text line 913-586-7965. I don't feel any differently about it, even though the Chiefs did. They did get the beat down on Sunday. I don't feel like the season is a failure, but it doesn't really matter how I feel about this. I would like to hear what you guys feel. 913-586-7965. Do you feel that this season was a failure now that the season is over and we know what happened to the Kansas City Chiefs? I will say this, and I think that every Chiefs fan agrees with this. I am much more disappointed by a Super Bowl loss than I would have imagined last week when you and I had this topic. I'm not going to say I don't care that they lost. I obviously care that they lost. But losing is not the worst thing. It was how they played and how they looked. That it just didn't seem like it was the team that we have been following this entire time. That's the thing that really crawls at me in this. If the Chiefs had lost a 31-30 epic Super Bowl where you got to just go out and, hey, Jalen Hurts, you made one more play than the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs gave their best effort. The Eagles gave their best effort. And on that individual day, the Eagles were the better team. I think you could live with that feeling if you were a Chiefs fan. The Chiefs got an F. The Chiefs got an F in everything. There is not a single category that you can give them higher than an F. And I don't even think their defense played that bad. In a normal game, I would give their defense maybe a C. Their defense was fine. No, you get an F too. Offense gets an F. Play calling gets an F. Coaching gets an F. Special teams gets an F. What Taylor Swift was wearing everything gets an F if you're associated with the Chiefs based on what we saw. I didn't think they were going to go out like that. There was no scenario I envisioned that the Chiefs, fully healthy with 2 weeks to prepare, would play the worst game during the Andy Reid era. I don't care what they did with Alex Smith. They never played as poorly as they played right there. That was a team that got punched in the mouth and went over in the corner and curled up in a ball. I would have never guessed that. Not from the Kansas City Chiefs. Not from a team that has been talking so much about a three-peat and was on the doorstep of history. I never would have suspected they would have gone out like that. You can lose. That's the game. To not show up, to not feel like they were ready, to not feel like they were prepared, to not feel like they fought, that's the heartbreak, and that rips your heart out. So I'm still on the same side. I don't think it was a failure. You made it to the Super Bowl. I will never consider losing in the Super Bowl to be a failure of a season. But to get to that point and to they were now, I don't care how many points they scored at the end. They were now 40-6. 40-6 for a quarterback that has what, 1, 2? He has less than 5 double-digit losses in his career. For them to go out like that, heartbreaking, disappointing. We can take you guys' phone calls on this, 913-586-7965. We got Mitch Holtis coming up at the top of the hour. I do want to ask him, was this the worst loss that he has been a part of with the Kansas City Chiefs? There's a lot of stuff to get Mitch's opinion on. We'll do that coming up in a bit. Keep it right here, so Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics, 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like discovering a refund tree has grown in your backyard.
I'm the refund tree.
Sawing off its branches.
Hey.
Feeding them through a wood chipper.
My branches! My beautiful branches!
And dancing in its refund rain. Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hardy. Jim Bob drinks his coffee with Jim Bob World Tour. August 14th at T-Mobile Center with Co Wetzel, Steven Wilson Jr., and Sicarus. ACM Award winner Hardy live. On sale Friday 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Hardy 2025.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Now, is this a family? Is this your mother? Where is she? Is she in the crowd? The mom's up there. What kind of family is this? I'm sorry.
It Ain't Right Tour 2025.
The poor mother is in the balcony, and the kids are down here with the father and his gumad. If this was the 80s, the kids would have been up there and the parents would have been down here.
Sebastian Maniscalco, live on stage in Kansas City. T-Mobile Center, Saturday, February 22nd. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
This Valentine's Day, fall in love with Hy-Vee. The classic dozen roses, just $19.99. Avoid the restaurant hassle and treat your Valentine to a home-cooked meal featuring bacon-wrapped filet, salad, bakery fresh baguette, twice-baked potatoes, vegetable, and dessert for just $35 a couple. Top it off with your favorite bottle of wine or spirits from Hy-Vee's wide selection. One stop makes this Valentine's Day the sweetest ever, only at Hy-Vee.
I love Hy-Vee for so many different reasons, but one of the things I love most about Hy-Vee is their customer service. Everyone that works at Hy-Vee is awesome. And you know what else I love about Hy-Vee? I don't have to sacrifice quality and service to get low prices. Hy-Vee just dropped the price on thousands of items in every aisle, in every department, on items I buy every day, both in-store and online. Hy-Vee even match prices with the nation's biggest discount stores. So check out Hy-Vee today and get those low prices only at Hy-Vee.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Break up with stinky clothes.
Rinse it out. Every now and then I get a little bit tired of the stinks that just will never come out. Pour Downy in the rinse change. Every now and then I rinse it out. One wash and it delivers. One wash, it smells so clean. Downy Rinse and Refresh, it's a dream.
Downy Rinse and Refresh. Fights odor in just one wash. Guaranteed.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like discovering a refund tree has grown in your backyard.
I'm the refund tree.
Sawing off its branches.
Hey.
Feeding them through a wood chipper.
My branches! My beautiful branches!
And dancing in its refund rain. Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This report is brought to you by CareNow Urgent Care. Find one near you at carenow.com.
CareNow Urgent Care has 15 Kansas City area locations open 7 days a week. From injuries and illnesses to school and sports physicals, CareNow Urgent Care is here to help you feel better fast. Find a location near you at carenow.com and use our convenient web check-in today.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Kansas side, K10 eastbound, still pretty heavy from K7 out towards Woodland with problem off on the shoulder. Heading into downtown, 70 westbound, a bit slow as you make your way from Truman into the downtown loop. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
Welcome to your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
All right. I want to make a point that I think is very obvious, but I don't think that maybe people are giving it nearly enough credit. And I have thought this because, and I understand this is how social media works, this is how the media works, that it's real wishy-washy. It just kind of comes and goes. You can be up one moment, you can be down the next moment, you can be canceled on Monday, and then you can be back on Friday. Everybody's just wishy-washy, flip-flop, flip-flop, flip-flop. I want you guys to really sit down and think about how hard it is to be considered the best. Think about that. How hard it is to be considered the best. Patrick Mahomes has had a remarkable career so far. He's played in 5 Super Bowls. They've won 3 of them. He's won 2 MVPs. He's won Super Bowl MVP 3 times. Amazing, right? People are now telling you, well, there's no chance he can be the best. Wait, what? He's not even 30. He's not even 30 yet. You're telling me there's no chance that player who has accomplished all of those things before he's 30, you're telling me he's now ineligible to be considered the best? The best usually requires some sort of perfection. The reason people think that Michael is the best is because he never lost in the NBA Finals. I mean, he doesn't have the most points ever, doesn't have the most rebounds ever, doesn't have the most blocks, the most assists, the most steals. Like, Mike doesn't really have the most anything ever, not even championships. Why do you think Mike's the best? Like, really sit down and ask someone, why do you think he's the best? It's because he was perfect in the biggest moments. But then I think we all know that that's not realistic. If you ask people who the greatest fighter is of all time, a lot of people will tell you Muhammad Ali. He lost before. To people in his prime, he lost. Why do you think he's the best? More than anything, the last couple of days and hearing all the backlash and outrage and all of the opinions, it just goes to show you how hard it is to be considered the best at what you do. There's no question that Mahomes is one of the best. Mahomes can retire right now, and everyone would consider him to be one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And we would debate about where he is. No one would put him number 1 outside of the 816 or 913 anymore. Not after yesterday or 2 days ago. No one would do that. And I'm not saying you are right or wrong to have that opinion that he is still the best. It is just, what do you need to do to be considered the best? It's really, really hard to do. You got to have a near flawless resume. That's what makes Brady so special. Brady's resume is perfect. Sure, they lost a couple of times to the Giants. Man, you can do that when you go to 7 of them, or when you go to 10 of them and win 7 of them. You can have a couple of losses in the Super Bowl that we're going to forgive. Brady's teams never got beat the way I just saw Patrick Mahomes' team get beat, and that's happened now twice. We gave you the mulligan on the first one. You ain't getting the mulligan on the second one. You're going to have to wear this one if you're Patrick Mahomes. And that's why, just as a sports fan, as someone who enjoys character arcs and story and character building, I'm really, really intrigued to see what this offseason looks like and what it means for Patrick Mahomes. It has to be a soul-searching mission. You just got thumped. You got knocked out in front of the world, and for the first time, people are blaming you for why that happened. They didn't do that after you lost to Tampa Bay. You got a pass. We celebrated that incredible throw that you made where the ball was dropped and all the running around you did. We were finding stats I never seen before. Hey, Pat ran 16.29 miles in the backfield. It's more than ever. Okay, people gave Mahomes a pass the first time. He ain't getting a pass for this one. Not when your team was fully healthy. Not when you got a chance at a 3-peat. No, not when you beat this team earlier in the Super Bowl. No, you don't get a pass for this one. You guys talk about scorched earth, Patrick Mahomes, a lot. Well, this guy said this Mahomes is going to go scorched earth, or he's going up against Chicago. It's going to be scorched earth. I can't. If I'm Andy Reid, I'm putting a compilation of everything that everybody has been saying about you right after you lost the Super Bowl, and I'm sending you clips as the season progresses. Hey, are you watching film? I am. Are you working out right now? That's where you need to be. I'm sending you clips all season long. People are telling you that you can't be the best anymore. People are asking if the Chiefs dynasty is over. People who are asking who's more to blame for the loss. People are putting a lot of this on you. How do you respond? How do you bounce back? This isn't the end for the Chiefs. This isn't the end for Patrick Mahomes. But I am going to be really intrigued to see what they do this offseason and how the front office responds to. You got outclassed. And it wasn't just you got outclassed. It looked like the other team had better players than you. The Chiefs pride themselves on, we got the great front office and stability, and we got the best general manager in the league. It didn't look like that on Sunday. It looked like another team had that. For the first time in 3 years, the Chiefs are not considered the best. Every day that you have woken up for the last 3 years, it has been preposterous to think that another team was better than Kansas City. And you guys shout down anybody that would suggest that these other teams are better than you. For the first time, you are not the belle at the ball. You're not the prettiest girl at school anymore. They're talking about other people. There's other storylines. You're not the it thing anymore. People are going to question the Chiefs this offseason. You guys are not going to like it. The Broncos are going to do something. The Raiders are going to do something. The Chargers are going to do something. The Chiefs, for the first time, looked vincible. They looked vincible. They looked like you could beat that team. It looked like you could push that team around. The rest of the league is laughing, snickering at the Chiefs. I cannot wait to see how they respond to this. I cannot wait. I can't wait. I am excited to see what they do, how they respond. And more specifically, I'm excited to see what Pat does. He's never been questioned like this before. Not once. Not once in his entire career have people question him. No, it's not it. Someone on the text line says, the Royals are about to report to spring training. It's time to move on. Let's talk about the Chiefs in the fall. Go Royals. Hey, when you got a chance to get a three-peat and you get beat the way the Chiefs got, we can wait for baseball season. We got time. We got time for baseball. I'm not in baseball mode right now. Not when they're predicting a blizzard tomorrow. Maybe you're in baseball mode. I'm not there yet. It's not where I am. To further make that point, we got Mitch Holtis coming up next. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison.
This man was a bona fide scrub.
On 96.5 The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Kansas side, K10 eastbound, still pretty heavy from K7 out towards Woodland with problem off on the shoulder. Heading into downtown, 70 westbound, a bit slow as you make your way from Truman into the downtown loop. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
Call Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. Our iconic blue trucks and expert team get it right the first time. Award-winning full-service lawn care and pest control since 1985. Call today for a free estimate. Visit aspenlawn.com.
There are a ton of ways to kick off your day. Gym grind, endless scroll, or snooze button life. But McDonald's has a deal that levels up your morning above the rest. Now at McDonald's, mix and match your choice of a fluffy sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles and sizzly sausage McMuffin with egg for just $5. With a deal this fire, there's no better way to upgrade your mornings than with a delicious breakfast. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
Casey's has 8 new coffee roasts that have been described as having rich aromatics that entice any palate. But, we're not sure what that means, so we just call it darn good coffee. It's not crazy. It's Casey's. Now get a small hot coffee for 99 cents. See Casey's for details.
Chiefs coverage is brought to you by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Winter is more than half over, and things are looking up. But before we start thinking about spring lawn care, I'd like to ask you to look up at your trees. This is Larry Ryan at Ryan Lawn and Tree. And right now, before the leaves fill in, is a great time to find and take care of old storm damage, remove dead branches, and carefully prune trees for better growth and storm resilience. Now is also when you can save 15% with our winter rates. Our team of master pruners and certified arborists is unmatched in both skill and care. And at Ryan Lawn and Tree, they're also employee owners. You're not just a customer, you're their customer. I think you'll be impressed with the difference that makes. So will your valuable trees. Take advantage of our winter rates and enjoy 15% off all tree services when you book before March 1st. Call today or book online at ryanlawn.com/tree.
Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with cancer? You want the most knowledgeable physicians with the latest technology. That's KCPI. The Kansas City Proton Institute. KCPI has a full suite of the most advanced imaging and treatment technology necessary to localize high-intensity proton beams. That's a critical part of maximizing cure rates while minimizing recovery time and long-term side effects. Proton therapy provides patients with the most advanced form of radiation treatments for cancer. It destroys cancer cells with supreme accuracy, reducing the risk of harmful side effects. KCPI has Kansas City's first and only system that uses pencil beam technology, resulting in precision targeting and less radiation to your surrounding healthy tissue. Proton therapy is now available in the comfort of an office at KCPI, making it more efficient and affordable than a hospital. So contact KCPI for the most knowledgeable physicians with the latest technology. Don't wait. Get precision technology with the highest safety measures with KCPI. Online at kcpi.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-518-3899. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-518-3899. That's 800-518-3899. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This is the all-new 96.5 The Fan, your new home for K-State Athletics. KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City in Odyssey Sports Station. As voice of Chiefs Kingdom, he's seen the lowest of lows and the highest of highs.
You can doubt the Chiefs. You can dislike the Chiefs. You can disrespect the Chiefs. You're going to have to deal with the Chiefs.
Your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan. Here's Mitch Holtis with CDOT on The Drive.
This is a very pleasant surprise. I was not expecting Mitch Holtis to be in studio. I thought you were going to be on the phone today, Mitch Holtis. His appearance on the show is presented by Silverstein Eye Center. Achieve your best vision and experience outstanding patient care at Silverstein Eye Center by GEHA. They are a proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Not going to run from it. I'm going to be right here. It's
I just thought you were going to be on the phone today.
Well,
you
we
know?
got our show tonight at Lee's Summit Ward Road, so it's a little bit of a. You commuters will see me going by you, but yeah, I thought to be last show. Let's do it. Do it in person.
I don't want to just spend 25 minutes talking about the loss, so I do want to start with something maybe a little bit more positive to kick things off. Okay. Did you get some good New Orleans food while you were down there?
Oh, yeah, that was the best part of the whole New Orleans experience. Is that food is terrific. I love Cajun food anyway, so all of it. You can say red beans and rice, jambalaya, gumbo. I'm down with it. It's awesome.
What's the best thing you had while you were there? So my mom went down there just to kind of hang out with some of her friends, just to be in the Super Bowl city, and she called me telling me about these crab beignets, and the way that she talked about them was it sounded like that was some of the best things that she had when she were there. What was some of your favorite meals?
All respect to your mom, right? All respect. But don't make something sweet sour and sour sweet. If I'm biting into a beignet, I don't want crab meat, okay? So let's just leave it as crab cakes and beignet with powdered sugar on it. The best thing I had, some really good jambalaya at a place just off Bourbon Street. And then, honestly, give Megan McMullen credit. She works for the Chiefs. There was some outstanding, like Cajun catfish that they had. It was actually the night before a game. And my son, who coaches at Olathe Northwest, loves catfish. So he's a connoisseur. He's like, you got to try it. And I'm not a big catfish head, but, man, this was A+.
So let's talk about the game, and let's maybe start with this. You are as close to this team as anybody. I never would have imagined in a million years that's how the game would have gone. I certainly could see a Chiefs loss. Philadelphia was a very good team. I didn't really see a scenario in which another team would completely dominate a fully rested, fully prepared Kansas City Chiefs team. They had 2 weeks to prepare. They didn't have anybody on the injury list. The entire season was about getting back to this game. And for them to be down 40-6 at one point in the game. For Harrison Butker to never kick a field goal, for all of those things to happen, it was the most startling and surprising outcome of all. Could you ever have imagined that Sunday could go that bad for the Chiefs?
No, not really. And it's a kicker in the groin, and nobody's running from it. Everybody's owning it. I'm not going to run from it. I was surprised, especially when you look at 12 years. I can only think of 3 games like that. Super Bowl 55 felt that way. The Pittsburgh game in 2016, I only know this because my mom was dying, and I got word that, you got to get home as fast as you can. It was a Sunday night game in Pittsburgh, and we got beat 43-7 or something like that. That had that feel to it, but this had that as well. Now, give Philadelphia credit. I just reviewed the offensive video today against Philadelphia's defense. The fastest defense by far, I think, the Chiefs saw this year, and they saw some really good defenses, Chargers, Broncos, and others. But, man, Philadelphia was fast. And their scheme reminded me a lot of the Christmas Day Raiders game of 23, where Sweat, Nolan Smith are in this 2-point sprinters, not sprinter stance because they're not in block, like waiting in the relay. You're waiting for the second, third, or fourth leg of the relay where your kind of feet are staggered, you're squatting, and that's the way they were. But they were also quick in the back end. Their backers were a little bit quicker than I thought. The DBs were good. So give them credit. I think Coach and Nags and Pat and everybody else would have overs on this, wish they could have. Things kind of started sliding downhill like a mudslide and couldn't get it stopped. But I'm also not going to sit here and wallow in manure, right? I'm just not going to do it because you and I have had this conversation a lot where, and I got 12 years of data in this too, Coach is the best guy at handling flashpoints I've ever been around, even business-wise. And he fixes stuff. Now, this is going to be an off-season fix. There's a lot to fix, a lot to deal with. But my trust and faith, so I don't sit here and I'm going to own it, but I'm not going to sit here and wallow in it because I've seen these guys time and time again, whether it's Coach, Pat, Veach, whomever, they fix it. Because we kind of felt like this after 21, losing the AFC Championship game. Sure felt like this after 13 in losing that lead against the Colts. Felt it after the loss to the Titans in 17. But somehow they bounced back, and I have every faith that they will.
When was your uh-oh moment? Because I think every Chiefs fan kind of had it at a different point. When it was 17-0 and Kansas City has the ball. Now, they are on the shadow of their own end zone. But in my head, I'm thinking, well, I've seen the Chiefs put this drive together, and you don't need to get a touchdown on this drive. You just have to get some points. You get the ball after halftime, and the next time Philly gets the ball, this can be 17-14, this can be 17-10, and then I think the pressure shifts a little bit back to Philadelphia, and Kansas City has kind of taken the hardest of it, and they can kind of come out on the other side. When Joe Tooney gets blocked into Mahomes and he throws that pick in the middle of the field, and it goes from Kansas City 1st and 10 to now it's Philadelphia 1st and 10 on the 14-yard line, that's when I realized that Kansas City was in trouble and they just didn't really have a lot of answers on this day. When was that moment for you?
Well, first of all, I'm in agreement with you for the most part because the defense holds Saquon Barkley to 2.3 a carry. I went back and looked. There was only one game even close to that. It was Cleveland in Week 6, and he had 47 yards rushing and 2.6 at 2.3. Thursday, if I'm on with you during the week and Barkley has 2.3 and 20-some carries, we're going, Chiefs win. So I'm thinking that even at, the DeJean pick 6 was probably the uh-oh moment because now, Pat can overcome it. He's overcome 10 several times. 17 feels like a different animal. And then the one you're talking about just pushed it way past the limit. But the interception by Cook, I even cited on the air to Danon that the good news is the Chiefs just intercepted Jalen Hurts, who had not thrown or had not turned it over, not thrown an interception in 218 passes. That's the good news. Bad news, you have it at that 2 against this lightning-fast defense. I haven't had a chance to talk with Coach yet. Usually I do on these days. I'll have a chance to have a session with him before we do the Kingdom Show, but he's doing end-of-school kind of exit interviews. But I just, I think that there's the 3-back option. We had that flip pass set where they always had the 3 guys surrounding. You can run out of it, throw out of it. Might even max protect some short throws. at some points in the game, or a lot of times, and coaches taught me this, you slow down speed rushers because we look at all of them we play. We play Max Crosby. We play the Bosa's. We play Khalil Mack. They've been in our division with the jet sweep action. Even if they don't work or faking it, you just freeze like Josh Sweat for a second. Josh Sweat was phenomenal in this game. And he's in a 2-point stance, again, like he's running a relay. So I think if you look back on it, there's just to be a lot of questions. But, again, I have every faith Coach will use it to fix it. He won't sit here because to wallow in it, especially with 5 months to think about it, just leads to problems in 2025. You got to push on, move on, improve it, figure it out, and avoid it.
Right now, we're joined in studio by Mitch Holthus, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Are you surprised they got that dominated up front? I mean, this was an offensive line that I understand they didn't have their traditional left tackle with Tooney and Mike Caliendo and all of those things. But this is an offensive line that has looked pretty decent, I would say, the last 4 to 6 weeks since they've kind of solidified, hey, these are the 5 that we're rolling with and we're going to go. For Philadelphia to not blitz in that game and get a pressure on 52% of their drop back passes, they lived with that front 4, and all of them were dominant in this game. Yep. Are you surprised at how much success Philadelphia's front 4 had against the Chiefs' offensive line?
I had a ton of respect for them going in, and the video that I watched, I mean, these guys were on the honor roll on all the defensive statistics, but to go to that wide 9 technique, relying on their 2 inside guys, and the linebackers played better than I thought they would. Burks and Baum have been opportunistic, good players, but not awesome players. They were just super fast. But, again, it would be interesting if you tried to run through the armpits of those guys in that wide 9, which we'll see more of now. But that's what the Raiders played. That's why I say it went back to Christmas Day of 23. Run right at those guys. Even if you don't get 2 or 3 yards, you kind of change their life. You can't cut block anymore, but you're going to sit there and, try to just double them and fight them and get 3 or 4 yards and just take that as it is. So if you're asking if I'm surprised, I was surprised by their overall quickness of that defense, but those outside guys especially, and they just were teeing off and coming at you. When Pat was in the pocket on a 3 or 5 or 7 step, man, it was rugged. Joe did a great job. Tooney did an awesome job to get us to that game. So many guys that did great work to get us to that game and set history by doing it. No team's ever done it. Maybe Philly tries to go for 3 in a row. Well, if they win Super Bowl, and they win the NFC Championship, then they'll be the second team to do it, and it's taken 60 years to do it. So I don't want to gloss over that, which is the fact that this team accomplished a lot, and just dump on them for one game. But I told you Joe Tooney was the 167 wrestler wrestling 185. Well, now you're at State, and you're wrestling against the maybe once defeated or undefeated 185-pound champion. That's what it reminded me of, because I mean, Sweat was as good as I've seen from a guy, and think of all the good guys we played in a while. He was terrific.
Were you surprised that they didn't go to DJ Humphries? It felt like they needed something. It felt like they needed some kind of spark, whether it was having more kind of tight end sets. You could have somebody to help chip block on that other side. Maybe you go to DJ Humphries at left tackle. You move Joe Tooney over there. It just felt like they needed some kind of spark, and that spark obviously never came.
Well, no, I don't agree with that. I would go with what they did, and watching on video was when they got the big plays to Worthy, they went to 6-man protection. So you mentioned Noah Gray or somebody else to help out, either 6 or 7-man protection. It's not what we do a lot, but sometimes drastic measures cause for drastic things. And not saying a 2 or 3-man route's super drastic, but that's what worked. Or move Pat in the pocket, which they did as well. But those two things worked in concert, where the extra protection and moving Pat just kept Sweat or Smith or those inside guys from just teeing off. So, and actually the big plays to Worthy in the second half for that. So again, hindsight's 20/20, but not necessarily going with DJ because he hadn't repped that much. I would say maybe more run the ball, run at their armpit. Just give them a drill shot. Just let them slow down a little bit, and then max protect.
There's a lot of things I'm confused about what happened and kind of the outcome of the game. The Chiefs called 7 run plays. Isaiah Pacheco got 3 carries. Samaje Perine got 1, but that was in garbage time at the end of the game. And then Kareem Hunt he was on the field for 11 snaps. He got 17 carries in the AFC Championship game. I understand that the Chiefs don't have the dynamic run game that maybe Philadelphia does or some of the other teams, but this offense functions its best when they are balanced, when they do run the football, when they're getting, 3-4 yards a carry, when it takes some of the pressure off Patrick Mahomes. So it is kind of frustrating to me to not feel like the play calling really tried to throw Pat a life jacket. It was keep dropping back and keep trying to throw it against that very aggressive four-man front. Where were the screen plays? Where were the kind of, hey, let's try to get the ball to Xavier Worthy on a screen in space? I don't really feel like they maybe adjusted their offense in that way.
They tried to run some screens. They just didn't work. Philly was all over it. But I would think and I haven't had a chance to talk to Coach about it at some point, right time and place, but going back to maybe that three-back flip bun and just running right at him because they were running six-man box. I mean, they weren't doing tricky stuff up front. And again, you got to be patient and just get 3 yards or 4 yards, but just run at him, hit him in the stomach, just nail him and do some of that. Maybe especially backed up when they were at the 2 after the interception, because that drive really was a killer. That gave them Eagles short field after 3 and out. They get a field goal, now they're up 2 scores, but you're just always on your heels, sack. So, we can sit here all day and pick it apart. What should you do? And the team did run the ball well. They're in that game because of Kareem being effective. And sometimes you got to maybe go a little bit old school, where you're just running leads and power O inside and run at them and see what that would do for you. Or that, I keep going back to the flip bone, but that's just been a really good thing for them. And then you pass out of that. You can play pass out of it. You're just not running 3 or 4 wide and minimum protection or 5.5-man protection, because even the chip and release wasn't working. They were just so fast. So, and then I think we need to talk about the defense for the most part. Jalen Hurts was really good in this game. And if he wasn't, it wouldn't have been what it was. His throw, like the out and up to Jahan Dotson for the first near the touchdown, set up the tush push, was a terrific throw. Coverage wasn't that bad. And even the 46-yarder deep middle, and then his ability to run. That was the Jalen Hurts that we saw in Super Bowl 57. He didn't have that kind of year this year because Barkley was so impactful. But this defense held Barkley and short fields. Because you gave up a pick 6 and given the ball at the 14, which is the one you said was the kicker. I think DeJean's pick 6. But the defense, for the most part, did a lot of good things in this game. They gave up a couple of the big plays, but not 40 points. And so I think we could sit here again and wallow in all the stuff and second-guess it. But we also need to mention what that defense was able to do against the most elite runner in this league.
I came away with, I don't know if a newfound respect for Jalen Hurts is maybe the right way to say it. I just think about all the Super Bowl games that the Chiefs have played in, and Jimmy Garoppolo had a chance to make that throw to Devontae Smith in the middle of the field. He overthrew Emmanuel Sanders in that scenario. Like, I saw Jalen Hurts where if you ask anybody, well, how do you beat Philadelphia? It is take Saquon Barkley out of the game, force Jalen Hurts to beat you, and that's where you're going to have your most success. You just mentioned it. Saquon didn't play that well in this game. He had 57 yards rushing.
What he's always trying, he was getting stopped. Yeah, there were dudes flying to him and tackling him. That's what the Chiefs have done all year.
This was your quarterback being a very key part of your run game, and he made a couple of big throws. You mentioned the one to Dotson, the touchdown pass to Devontae Smith in the middle of the field. Jalen Hurts won them the game. They won it by a lot of other things too, but he wasn't just a game manager, caretaker quarterback. He was a reason why Philadelphia got out to the lead that they built.
Yeah, and I think if Spags, and the other thing, he was prepared. Like those first 3 big plays they had, including the out and up to Dotson, the Chiefs were blitzing. So they were prepared for the blitz. He knew where to look for his hots or where to go. If he had time to throw it. Because he got sacked this year 38 times. That's what was perplexing about the Eagles team. As good as they were running the ball with Barkley, best arguably in NFL history, and then time of possession, he got sacked 38 times. That doesn't add up. So I think the extra week helped him. He was able to have some juice running the ball, but he was able to read those blitzes early. He knew where the hots were. Now, the call on Trent McDuffie for unnecessary roughness, that helps him out big time. That's on the Dotson drive, right? I think, if I'm not mistaken. And then Bolt getting the shot, that's 3rd and 26. Like, they're going to get off the field there. And maybe they did anyway. But the point is, some of those, like Spags would have back, and so would Bolt. and others. So that's just the way kind of the whole game went. But overall, the Chiefs defensively did a lot of really, really good things in that game.
Do you think Travis Kelce's coming back?
Don't know. I'm wearing his hoodie. He and I have had some good connections here over the past. I wish he could replay. I wish he could replay the 20 minutes I had with him on Chiefs Kingdom back in November. If Speck can find it, it would be something for you to play in the next couple of days because he's so reflective on everything. And, you know, I've also shared a lot of hugs with him. I don't know. If it is, then he's played 11,000 hard snaps. He has 3 Super Bowl championships. Did you think he would be the all-time Super Bowl record holder for receptions? Don't tell me about Gronk. Don't talk about any of these other cats. He passed Jerry Rice in a Super Bowl record for most catches. And really close on playoff touchdowns, really close on Super Bowl yards and touchdowns. So if so, then you know what? Awesome, buddy. You left it all on the table. If he's coming back, then let's go. Let's figure this out. Because Kels has also been a part of being a part of the solution instead of a part of more of a challenge when they face these flashpoints. He has had more of a role there along with Pat than people give him credit for. Because there's some glue to that guy and throughout the entire team, including the defensive side. And he casts a big shadow in that locker room with everybody that's there. They know they're looking at Cooper. They know they're looking at Canton, Ohio every time they look at him. And he's so humble about it. He doesn't act like he's the smartest guy in the room. He doesn't act like, hey, I need 10 targets. He's like, let's figure it out and win. And then nobody works harder. You go to camp, he's working 9-on-7 wham drill. It's like, what? What's he doing? But that's just the way he's wired. So if he comes back, he'll be part of the solution. If he doesn't, go in peace, man. You've left it all on the table for us.
This is the first time I've ever been kind of where you are, where I don't know. Kind of leading into this game, just financially, it makes a lot of sense for him to come back. He gets $11.5 million as a roster bonus by being on the team at the start of the league year. He gets essentially $1 million for showing up to training camp. I'm talking about $12.5 million before you ever really put the pads on and start playing football. I think it's hard to kind of walk away from that kind of money, but I mean, after this kind of loss that you have, I think it's reflective for everybody. Yeah. You obviously have a great foundation. Like, you know, not all has gone lost with the Kansas City Chiefs. But, you know, when I made the analogy to you earlier, it kind of feels like we have been watching a television show. And Sunday was the finale. This was the final episode of it. Can they do it? So much has been about the three-peat, about them being the greatest dynasty of all time. And then we watch the final episode, and you're like, wait, what did I spend all this time watching? That's how this show ends? So with all of that, I am really curious where Travis's head is and what he wants to do coming back. I think we'll find out in the next 2 weeks or so. But I'm with you. For the first time, I don't know what Travis is going to do.
I'm just going to respect whatever he does. I just laid all that out there. I think he's going to listen to his body. The biggest thing, 12 million. Dude, he's got a podcast worth 100 million. Like, he's going to be game show host, whatever. He's going to be studio host he'll get the 12 million back in a snap. I don't think if he comes back, I think a big part is I think he doesn't want to end his career that way. And he loves Pat and he loves his team. And if he feels like he's still got juice and can help the team, I feel like he'll be back. But he's got to listen. He's going to listen to his body. You back up, man. You get away from all the emotion, whether it's sad or happy or whatever. And the best thing to do is back out. Go to some other planet. Listen to your body. What's your body saying? Can you do this? Let's keep grinding. And if so, he'll come back in and attack it. But he's the only guy that knows. All right. And again, I respect the heck out of him. And I've told him so many times in the last couple of months that to share the 12 years with him, to call his games, you know, I said the same thing to T-Guns, but he only got one playoff game, and it wasn't with us, right? He got playoff games with us, but didn't get a win. He got a win in one win in 17 years with Atlanta, like a wild card game. But with Kels to share world championships and to him to do things that people didn't think possible for a tight end, he took a position that was redefined and redefined the redefinition, if that makes sense. So whatever he decides, I'm with you, bro. Let's go do it. But he ain't gonna worry about $12 million. He'll get that back in a day.
I am really, really intrigued to see what this offseason looks like for Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
I mean, every day that
the whole team, really.
Yeah, but like really more specifically with Mahomes, and this is why I feel that way. When they lost to Tampa, I don't really think the perception was that it was the quarterback's fault. I think it was, hey, you guys didn't have your left tackle, you didn't have your right tackle. He's taking more arrows for how he played in this game, whether right or wrong. Their offensive line was bad, not adjustments, all of those things. We talked about how this makes you question things. This has to make you question everything, how you watch film, how you diet, how you train. And if Patrick is the competitor that I know him to be, you got to internalize all that stuff, and you really try to come out with a vengeance for this next kind of season. Every night that Patrick Mahomes has gone to bed for the last 3 years, the Chiefs have been the best team in the league. And it's been crazy to suggest that Detroit or Philadelphia or any of these teams have been better than them. They're not the best team right now. That is not the perception. They're not the it story heading into this offseason. People are going to question whether or not this was the end of the dynasty. Has the league caught up? Have they figured out the blueprint to stop Kansas City? I'm going to be really intrigued to see what Patrick Mahomes looks like, what he says, how he carries himself next season as the Chiefs look to try to get back to another Super Bowl.
Couple of observations based to a reaction to you. Two, what you said at the end is exactly what happened in 2021. All the same stuff. Lou Anarumo has figured out. He broke the code. Lou Anarumo got fired this year. Okay? Oh, Philly's figured out the code. They've got it. Wide 9 technique, play 4. Well, if you get Josh Sweat playing at the highest level he can, then okay, you got it figured out. So Vic Fangio, never beaten the Chiefs. He just got him, man. Way to go. Way to go. But to me, that doesn't mean, again, covered in lava and volcanic ash, which is what the narrative is going to be. Now, this is intensified by what you said, by where Pat has gone since 21. Okay, Pat became Jordan, and not everybody liked Pat becoming Jordan. The narrative of the referee calls and that Pat is, somehow circumventing the rules, that has changed things. So the intensity of Pat's no good or the Chiefs are done, or that's intensified because of what they've done over the past 2 to 3 years. That does not change Patrick Mahomes. The fire in his gut and the fire in his belly and the fire in his belly and the fire in his soul will burn even brighter, because that's the way the dude is wired. Whether he's on top or just got beat, he is the same cat, and he is plugged into the most electricity you can find. He will fight and get his way back. He'll make everybody around him better. He got the team to this point. People talk about him having a down year. He had his best completion percentage of his career. He figured it out as the year went on. D-Hop helped him. I gave you those stats all week to week to week to week. But if there's one bit of confidence that I have in 2025 with the Chiefs rebound from this, it's one in Andy Reid, because I've seen him fix it over and over and over and over. But I've seen the same thing by Patrick Mahomes. Not only fixing it, but the way he burns, the way he is consistently on fire to fix it if it's broken or to make it better if it's not. And I've seen that now since he became – actually, I saw it his rookie year. But when he became QB1, everything changed. I don't expect that to move at all. The needle will be pegging forward if it's Patrick Mahomes at quarterback and he's healthy.
That is Mitch Holtz, his voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. His appearance on the show is presented by Silverstein Eye Center. Achieve your best vision and experience outstanding patient care at Silverstein Eye Center. Also by GEHA, a proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. You guys have your final Chiefs Kingdom coming up tonight.
Lee Summit, Hy-Vee at Ward Road. So it's the West Hy-Vee in Lee Summit, but we're going to do a lot of things tonight. We're going to basically take this conversation we had and expand it, and kind of a past, quickly, present, future, moving ahead, and look at the 5 months ahead. We're also going to honor Dan Israel, the executive producer of the Chiefs Radio Network, 35 years at doing it, but he has fought cancer for 10 years, and it's been a nasty fight. And he's won Super Bowls, and he has redesigned. The NFL reaches out to him as, how do we do it? He's also an instructor for the sportscaster training. Like, he's had all these dudes that want to get into it, from Greg Olson to whomever, and he helps in the off season to help train these guys. So this guy's had way more of an impact than any of us know. But the biggest thing he has done is fought cancer in a really wicked battle for 10 years, and he continues to fight. So we're going to lift him up. We're going to go through a lot of things, what we've seen in Coach Reed, because he and I get to talk to him from a so-called media standpoint more than anybody during the season because we get time with him during the week. So we're going to jump into all that. That's tonight at Lee Summit Ward Road.
That is Mitch Holtz, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs, joining us in the studio. Mitch, I don't know the next time I'll see you, but I really appreciate you popping on this season.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a week-by-week odyssey. Seriously, you talk about building up to a crescendo. Did you ever see Netflix Mad Men?
I have not seen Mad Men.
I don't know when it was the last episode, but if you get a chance to binge on that, it's really, really, really good. It's like the 1960s, but the world that you and I live in, kind of is the advertising world, and anyway, but the last episode was one of the most disappointing because everything else was so really well written. I'm thinking, how are they going to end it? Well, there's a little bit of a thud. We know it's a thud in losing this game, but we'll come fighting back. But go binge on Mad Men if you can find it.
I'm currently watching Entourage. When I finish Entourage, I will start. Yeah. I will start Mad Men. I do want to check it out.
Love it.
That is Mitch Holtz, voice of the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's keep that thought going. We'll do that next. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
What is GMTVCC? That's a mouthful, but translation for GMTVCC.com is Give Me the VIN Classic and Collector Cars. It's a brand new buying division of Give Me the VIN, but it's for classic and collector cars. Experienced pro buyers will appraise an offer on your 1970 Hemi Cuda or 1988 Fox Body Mustang or your granddad's old 1985 square body Chevy truck. GMTVCC.com is where you go to get real money for classic and collector cars to get paid now. That's GMTVCC.com, brought to you by Give Me the VIN.
Has your home been on the market without success? An expired listing can feel frustrating, but it doesn't have to be the end of your journey. The Sharp Homes team specializes in turning things around. Contact my friend Dawn Sharp if you're looking to buy or sell a home. Dawn and her team are brokered by Epic Realty, and they've sold over 150 homes in the last 12 months alone. Plus, they can give you options. If you want to skip the showings and open houses and go straight to sold, you can do that with their instant offer program. Google them at Sharp Homes Team or visit them at homesforsaleInKC.com.
Hey, Missouri sports fans, I've got good news. Underdog is available to play in your state. This basketball season, team up with your favorite stars and have a chance to win money from watching sports over at Underdog. From fast breaks to buzzer beaters to block parties, there's nothing as exciting as basketball. With Underdog, you can bring that excitement to wherever you watch. Playing on their app is as easy as choosing higher or lower on player stats like threes made, points, rebounds, and so much more. Get those selections right, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. Millions of fans have won billions on Underdog. You gotta be next? Download the Underdog app and sign up now using that promo code TAP to unlock a special offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. Join in on the fun when you sign up with that promo code TAP. Claim your special offer today and you'll get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly upon your first deposit. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Shane Company has partnered with Cupid to bring you the best Valentine's Day gifts, even if you forgot. We won't tell. From harp necklaces with sparkling diamonds to stylish gold hoops, every piece is made with love. Plus, there's still time to pop the question on the most romantic day of the year. Create your own engagement ring or pick a perfectly preset ring that's ready to go. We make it easy with gifts for every budget, in stock and ready to give, so it looks like you've been planning this for months. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Pheasants Forever's National Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic is coming to the Kansas City Convention Center this March 7th through the 9th. Join us for puppy and dog training seminars, a youth village for kids, pollinator and wildlife habitat hunting gear in the 20th anniversary of Quail Forever. It's National Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic the weekend of March 7th, presented by Pheasants Forever, Quail Forever, and Federal Ammunition. For more information, Log on to pheasantfest.org.
Are you ready to start feeling your absolute best? I've got the perfect solution. Stretch Zone, your destination for practitioner-assisted stretching. Whether you're an athlete looking to enhance performance or someone seeking relief from the daily grind, Stretch Zone's personalized stretching sessions cater to all levels and lifestyles. Unleash your potential. Let Stretch Zone guide you to a healthier, more flexible you. 6 area locations. Book your session today at stretchzone.com. Stretch Zone. Stretch, work, play, repeat.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hardy. Jim Bob drinks his coffee with Jim Bob World Tour. August 14th at T-Mobile Center with Co Wetzel, Steven Wilson Jr., and Sicarus. ACM Award winner Hardy live. On sale Friday 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Hardy 2025.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Now, is this a family? Is this your mother? Where is she? Is she in the crowd? The mom's up there. What kind of family is this? I'm sorry.
It Ain't Right Tour 2025.
The poor mother is in the balcony, and the kids are down here with the father and his gumad. If this was the 80s, the kids would have been up there, and the parents would have been down here.
Sebastian Maniscalco, live on stage in Kansas City. T-Mobile Center, Saturday, February 22nd. Get tickets now at livenation.com.
I'm Brian Tedesco, CEO of Blaupunk Americas, the pioneers of the car stereo. Today, we're not just about sound systems. We are revolutionizing the e-bike scene with Blue Dot Bike. Thanks to AmericanEagle.com, our online presence now features a dynamic e-commerce website that showcases the quality and affordability of our foldable e-bikes. And our collegiate e-bikes, just perfect for the college fanatic. These e-bikes offer a new way to experience freedom on 2 wheels, no matter your age. When we needed a top-notch website to match our cutting-edge e-bikes, we turned to AmericanEagle.com. They made the impossible seem easy, tackling digital challenges like pros. Check out the Blue Dot Bike website to see AmericanEagle.com's amazing work in action. Need the best in website and digital marketing solutions? AmericanEagle.com is your go-to. They've been a game changer for us, and they can be for you too. Visit AmericanEagle.com or call 877-WEB-NOW-1. That's 877-WEB-NOW-1.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Kansas side, K10 eastbound, still pretty heavy from K7 out towards Woodland with problem off on the shoulder. Heading into downtown, 70 westbound a bit slow as you make your way from Truman into the downtown loop. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
Chiefs fans, it's George Karlaftis. Welcome to The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Rob, you watch more of the big shows than I have, so I think you're a perfect person to ask this question to. What show would you equate to what we just saw with the Chiefs? You know we love a good entertainment analogy on this show. Part of what makes the NFL so good is it is the character building and story arc. And there's been a lot of story arc for Kansas City. This show started with the Tyreek Hill trade, right? That's when it started. You were doubting the Chiefs. This is the end of the Chiefs. They've lost their downfield, big play wide receiver. It's over for the Chiefs. That is the first episode of the three-peat. And then think about all the things that have happened along the way. Think about all the twists and turns. We got a Taylor Swift cameo in this. All of the things that have happened over the last 3 years to get us to the series finale. Sunday was the end. I'm not saying the Chiefs are over, but follow me here. Everything the Chiefs have done and talked about had led them to Sunday's game. This was immortality. This was going from being one of the greatest teams of all time to being the greatest team of all time. All of the controversy, all of the backlash, all of the complaints, it all led to the series finale of Chiefs Try History. That episode stunk. That's the way that this show ended? You're telling me all the time that you have invested into this show, all the money you guys have spent going to Chiefs games and doing all of these things, that's how their attempt at a three-peat ends? That's it? You're telling me they might write off Travis Kelce? This is it? That's the end of the show? It's got to be heartbreaking. Rob, you've seen more of these shows than I have. You've seen The Sopranos, The Breaking Bads, The Walking Deads. You are more of a TV guy. You know me. I love a bad movie. I love a bad 2000s teen movie. Rob, what's this television show? If you had to equate the Chiefs season and the last couple of years to a TV show, what is it?
Well, first off, Mitch's answer is pretty good. Mad Men is a very good answer. I like Mad Men. If you're going to rewatch old shows, put Mad Men on your list. I don't know you'll love Mad Men, but Mad Men is a tremendous television show.
I'll give it a chance. I'll give it a chance. I'm deep in a 2010 television show bag right now. I only got a handful of Entourage episodes left. I got like another week and a half in Entourage.
Season 7, just don't watch it. The actual best analogy I can make of hey, it was a great ride. Everything was perfect. Everything was gangbusters. And then the finale was just the ultimate thud, was Seinfeld. Seinfeld may have been the funniest sitcom we've ever seen on television, network television. It was a cultural phenomenon. It was a massive deal. And Seinfeld was going to leave television. It was going to go out on top. It was, hey, peak of its powers, best comedian in the world, most expensive cast in the world, the whole deal. And even bad Seinfeld episodes were like, close Chiefs wins. I mean, there's still some redeeming qualities, and every part of the ride was fun, and you got to experience all these moments. And then the Seinfeld finale was awful. I don't even watch Curb Your Enthusiasm. One of the themes of Curb Your Enthusiasm is people make fun of Larry David for how terrible the Seinfeld finale was. Seinfeld, we've both seen him in concert. He alludes to the fact his finale was terrible. He had the best show on television, period, and it ended the worst of any show on television. That was the Chiefs season. They traded Tyreek Hill, and the starting gun went off, and it was greatness. Yeah, they had some losses. Yeah, there were some, hiccups, some bumps and bruises. Not everything was perfect, but it was everything in this town. Carrington, can you imagine time as a kid where it'd be April 11th and people would just be like, hey, man, how about those Chiefs? That was the way the world was in Kansas City. And for it to end the way it ended and just absolutely boat race, Seinfeld is the closest analogy I can make.
Text line 913-586-7965. How would you equate how the Chiefs have gone? There are a lot of people that are saying Game of Thrones is their comparison.
That was one bad season, though. Like, there was a bad ending, but, like, the Chiefs didn't have a – like, if the Chiefs had gone 6-10 this year, okay, yeah, that's 6-11, whatever. But
I don't know any person that likes any part of the last season of Game of Thrones. I know a lot of people that don't like the ending of Game of Thrones, too. Like, who ultimately ended up on the Iron Throne. I'm not here to spoil it for anybody, but the Game of Thrones analogy is not a bad one for the Chiefs. That's my biggest thing with this team is, man, all of that led to that. I honestly could live with it if they had lost. I could have. If they had lost to 27-24, man, hey, they got the best of you kind of game, that'd be one thing. They got smoked. They got the beats in front of everybody. Just a very disappointing way to end what had been a pretty great season. All right, you know what? I don't want to spend all this time marred down in this disappointment. Can I give you guys one bright spot? I want to give you one bright spot for the entire season regarding the Kansas City Chiefs. They have their number 1 and their number 2 wide receiver. I think they also have their number 3 wide receiver for next year in Hollywood Brown, if he would like to come back, which I'd be very much interested in Hollywood Brown coming back for next year. The Chiefs, for the first time, they have their what is going to happen if Travis Kelce retires plan. I don't think the Chiefs have been positioned very well the last couple of years where if Travis decides that he is not coming back, what are they going to do? We'll talk more about this tomorrow when we got Mike Giannetti from Spot Track coming on, and we can dive deeper into all of the options for Travis Kelce. But I do firmly believe for the first time, the Chiefs will be okay if he decides to walk away. They will be okay. I want Travis to come back. I know that might surprise some of you guys, given my opinions that I've had about Travis Kelce. It's certainly not personal toward Travis. I got nothing bad against Travis, actually. I would like Travis to come back for next year's team. I think he should come back and play one more season. I think that he should have his moment to get his flowers, that it's sort of known, hey, I'm not going to resign at the end of this season, and I think that he should have a proper send-off where you guys should be able to thank Travis Kelce for everything that he has done. It will not be the worst thing in the world if he decides to retire, though. I want him to have all those things. I think he has earned all of those things for next season. They are positioned fine if he decides to do something else. Things are in good hands if Noah Gray is ready to step in. And you have your number 1 and number 2 wide receiver and you feel really good about it, the first time since when? Like, I'm really trying to go back. And I'm not saying Kelce and Hill. I'm talking about wide receiver number 1, wide receiver number 2. When was the last time that you felt this confident about both of them? Because you guys know I was never the highest on Sammy Watkins, and I think that Xavier Worthy is going to be a better wide receiver than Sammy Watkins. When was the last time that the Chiefs were this set up at number 1 and number 2 wide receiver moving forward? That is the biggest takeaway by far this season for the Kansas City Chiefs. It is not close. Not close. Now, I'm not against them going out and getting another wide receiver. If Hollywood Brown doesn't come back, and I'm all for you bringing Hollywood back on a 1-year deal, I'm not against you spending money on a 1-year deal. But if Rice returns the way that we think he can return, and it was a torn ACL, so he should be able to come back. He should be fine. You come back, you hold your suspension 2 to 4 games. By October 1, you've got Rice, you've got Worthy on the other side. I want them to go draft a running back, and you have a offense that could be centered around guys who are not yet 25 years old. It's been a while since that's been the case for the Chiefs offense. It's been a while since they've kind of gone in that youth movement direction. So I am here to find the positives. I'm not here to just tell you that they lost. I mean, we all know that they lost. We got to move forward. We got to look ahead at some point. They do have their number 1 and number 2 wide receivers figured out, and I think that is an overwhelming positive.
So let me ask you a question, because I agree that's a massive positive. I actually think this has a chance to be the best receiver core the Chiefs have had in a long, long time. They might not have the top end that Tyreek Hill was, but they have a depth of talent at that position. Earlier in the show, and we'll talk about it later in the week, and uncomfortable conversations, you said more explosive, younger, faster is the whole push this offseason from you. This is day one of that messaging. Doesn't sound like they need any changes at wide receiver if Rice and Worthy are there, because they check both those boxes. Now, Rice this year will be different because we both anticipate he's going to be suspended, so you need another I get it. But going forward, it feels like you have two check marks for what you're looking for this offseason wide receiver. Younger, faster, more explosive. Check and check.
Yeah, I also want them to invest in running back, and I know you're not going to want that. I know you. You're going to want them to get the bargain basement, $1 million. He was 27 years old. He was good in 2000. I know you. I know the kind of running back. I don't want that running back for this team. I don't, actually. I want them to spend a top 100 pick. Rob, you and I watch a lot of college football. There's a lot of really good running backs that are going to be in this draft class. The Chiefs are going to have a chance to draft a Pro Bowl running back in this draft class. That's what I want them to go do. So you can get younger and cheaper at some other positions. And if they don't bring Hollywood Brown back because they want to spend real money on a number 3 wide receiver, I'm not going to be against that strategy at all if that's what they want to do. But I do know one thing. Their offense cannot continue to be centered around a 35, soon-to-be 36-year-old tight end. I understand that that was not the plan at the beginning of the season, and an injury changed things. I get that. I understand. I don't think that was their plan from the very beginning. But this season, their number one option was a 35-year-old. That's not the NFL. Look at the other teams that you think are good. That's not the NFL. Your best player, your offensive breadwinner cannot be a 35-year-old tight end. That cannot be the case next year. So spend the money elsewhere. Run the football effectively. Spend a top 100 pick, and you can get a very, very good running back that everybody is really, really excited about. That's what I'd be for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's what I want them to do.
I will probably, at one point this offseason, tell you that going bargain basement is the path of the Chiefs. I will throw one caveat on there, though. If they draft Devin Neal, I'm buying a jersey. I mean, it's just that simple. My take on running back will change 180 degrees if Devin Neal's a Chief. I'm just putting that out. I'm just going to speak that into the ether. If
I don't have any issues with Devin Neal.
I'd be elated. Friend of the show, Devin Neal.
I don't have any issues if you go get Devin Neal. Where do you think Devin Neal's going in this draft?
Early third.
Okay, I don't mind that.
Because I think Jenkins from Ohio State's clearly better. Obviously, I think Scadaboo is better. Those guys are going to go ahead of him. Obviously, Genty's better. He's going ahead of him. But, yeah, I think he's running back, 5, 6, 7. That's third-round guy.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with that. I also don't think their offensive line is maybe as broken as the text line feels like it is.
Well, what do you do with Trey Smith? Because you don't have a left tackle.
I'm not saying their offensive line is good.
If you're going into next year without 2 offensive line positions, that's pretty broken. You don't have right guard. You don't have left tackle. They don't have either on the roster.
I will maintain that I don't think that bringing DJ Humphries back is a bad plan for next year at left tackle. I don't think it's a bad plan. My issue with DJ Humphries was not who he was. It was just, hey, you can't not play football all season and then show up and hey, I'm ready to play in the Super Bowl. That ain't really how the thing works. So if they're going to bring him back for there, I don't have any problem with that if they're going to bring DJ Humphries back at that point. I also just think about their offensive line you are going to be deficient somewhere on your roster, right? And I get it. You are going to be deficient somewhere. I'm cool with them being deficient at right guard if that's where they need to be deficient. I'm cool with that being the case. I'm fine with that. So I'm not going to maybe bang the drum as much for offensive line as other people are going to do. They made it just fine with their offensive line for 95% of the season. They were fine. So I'm not here saying, hey, you will not hear me arguing to go trade for Trent Williams this offseason. I can tell you that right now. I don't have any problem with them spending a first-round pick at left tackle or moving up, but I'm not going to really be banging the drum for them to do something ridiculous at left tackle. That's just not where my head is for the offseason. I want them to get younger and more dynamic and skill position players, and I do want a plan at left tackle with the veteran. If you want to have competition and the plan is going to be DJ Humphries at left tackle and then a first-round draft pick, that's a fine plan to me. But their plan this year was a second-round pick, and when that didn't work, they had no plan B. You need to develop a plan B if something doesn't go right at that position. I think it was very clear this year that they did not have that plan B plan. We can keep this conversation going coming up on the other side. Let's take a break here. We'll get to the top stories of the day in Kansas City. And coming up at the top, we'll talk about Patrick Mahomes. It's a very important offseason for him. Keep it right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5, The Fan, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Kansas side, K10 eastbound, still pretty heavy from K7 out towards Woodland with problem off on the shoulder. Heading into downtown, 70 westbound a bit slow as you make your way from Truman into the downtown loop. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
March is almost here, and college basketball is reaching its most exciting stretch of the season. Right now, new customers on FanDuel get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 wager wins. That's $150 extra bucks to bet on everything from conference clashes to tournament upsets to even who you think is going to cut down the nets. You guys know I like my Missouri Tigers, and I got a feeling this could be the year that they make a deep run in the tournament. So don't wait anymore. And if you've been waiting to join FanDuel, there's no better time than the present. The app is easy to use, and when you win, you'll get paid instantly. So visit FanDuel.com/KFNZ, use my promo code, and get in on the March basketball action. FanDuel is an official sports betting partner of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets which expires 7 days after street restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement Kansas Art Casino, LLC. Gambling problem. Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700. Visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Call Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. Our iconic blue trucks and expert team get it right the first time. Award-winning full-service lawn care and pest control since 1985. Call today for a free estimate. Visit aspenlawn.com.
Fellas, this is Cody, and let's talk about getting back to your best. Maybe you lack energy, muscle mass, feel moody, have low libido. All of it could be low testosterone. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer, and you'll find the true experts at Low T Center. But guys aren't the same, so don't settle for standard dosage TRT programs. I learned about personalized treatment at Low T Center. Get the results with a customized TRT. And for current patients, Low T Center offers a $150 referral credit when you refer a new patient. So go to lowtcenter.com to book an appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
There are a ton of ways to kick off your day. Gym grind, endless scroll, or snooze button life. But McDonald's has a deal that levels up your morning above the rest. Now at McDonald's, mix and match your choice of a fluffy sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles and sizzly sausage McMuffin with egg for just $5. With a deal this fire, there's no better way to upgrade your mornings than with a delicious breakfast. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
Hey there, Kansas Lottery here. And we want to get together for a game or two. Meet us at your favorite retailer or wherever you like to buy your tickets, and we can let the games begin. There's a lot of fun and cash on the line. See kslottery.com for details.
Attention lovebirds. Valentine's Day is almost here, and Diamonds Direct has the gifts to wow your special someone. From dazzling diamonds and trending gold to vibrant gemstones, pearls, even timepieces. With hundreds of stunning styles under $1,000 and an exquisite collection of one-of-a-kind luxury pieces. Make your moment unforgettable. The best selection, value, and service are waiting for you. Make this Valentine's unforgettable with fine jewelry for every budget. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
With us is Dr. Christian Hedinger with KCUC, Kansas City Urology Care. What makes KCUC the best?
Hands down, that's our physicians and our experience. We have combined hundreds of years of experience amongst our over 50 providers, radiation oncologists, medical oncologists, and urologists, often practicing under the same roof, who can provide the best integrated care to our patients. We've recruited surgeons from the Mayo Clinic, Harvard, Stanford, UCLA, and many of the other best institutions providing care in kidney, prostate, and bladder cancer. We often can provide our patients care from diagnosis to treatment to labs to scans to medications, all under one roof, all in an office setting as opposed to a hospital. We've assembled all of these physicians that are close to all different parts of Kansas City.
See the experts at Kansas City Urology Care. At KCUC, you see the best in KC. To make an appointment, visit kcuc.com.
Hey, it's Gold telling you about Max Motors. I was just recently at one of their 7 locations between Kansas and Missouri. They've got 7 locations, including one that's just 7 minutes from the Grandview Triangle if you're going 192 miles an hour. That's, of course, the Max Motors Harrisonville location. That's where I got a chance to drive a couple new cars, test drive, and find out exactly what the buying process can be like. They make it so easy. They tell you about the total cost of ownership, not just what your monthly payment's going to be. Max Motors has the best financing options available with the max trade-in values in the Midwest. Max Motors, the easiest place to buy a car. MaxMotors.com.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Tonight, expect snow with a low of 22.
Weather brought to you by Staples. Your local Staples store has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. Save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
Head home with The Drive. Weekdays starting at 2 on 96.5 The Fan, KFNZ FM and AM HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
All right, I'm happy we're having this conversation because the text line is very, very mad at me for my opinion about their offensive line. I don't think that their offensive line is in as bad of shape that you guys think that it is. Someone on the text line, C-Dot, did we watch the same game? Someone else said your $500 million asset got hit way too often. Now, I agree on all of those things. We are all on the same side about those things. But I refuse to believe that the offensive line that played against Pittsburgh, the offensive line that played against Houston, the offensive line that played against Buffalo, I refuse to believe that that offensive line is not usable. Their offensive line was not great by any means. Their offensive line was capable. And I hate to tell you guys this, they are not making a lot of significant changes to their offensive line. Jawan Taylor will be on the team next year. Joe Thuney will be on the team next year. Creed Humphrey will be on the team next year. If you don't think that Trey Smith is going to be back on the team, it is not possible for them to be better at right guard than they currently were for that Super Bowl. They will not be better at right guard than they were. So we're really just talking about left tackle, and the Chiefs have the 31st overall pick. There are three options. There are three options if you want them to go figure out left tackle. Number one is trade up. If you're willing to trade 2 first-round picks to go get a left tackle, and you are willing to make a quarterback kind of trade to go get left tackle, you can do that. Now, you're not getting up to 9, but could the Chiefs go from 31 to 19 to go get their left tackle? Sure. You will not be making a first-round selection then in 2026. I don't know where the draft will be, but Clark Hunt probably shouldn't go to that one. You should stay where you are for that one. Or, I guess, plan B. If you want them to go get a left tackle, they don't come cheap. You're not getting the DJ Humphries for $2.5 million to play. No. If you want a capable left tackle, it is going to cost you significant amount of money. Everybody is looking for a good left tackle. It's supply and demand. There's not that many. So it's going to cost. Or number 3, my bad, I'm off on counting. What I think they will do, I don't even want to have an offseason conversation. We can have it. I think they're bringing back DJ Humphries to play left tackle. I think we find out sometime in the next month that DJ Humphries has signed a 1-year deal to play for the Kansas City Chiefs, and they are going to let him get healthy, let him learn the system, and he will be their left tackle for next season. Now, that's not to say that they still won't draft a left tackle. They could. I think that DJ Humphries is going to be their left tackle. I think their offensive line is going to be DJ Humphries, Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey, Jawan Taylor, and I still don't know about right guard. Their offensive line is not going to be drastically different than what you just saw in the Super Bowl. Some of the responsibility for their offensive line has to go on a couple of different things. It has to go on play calling. Their offensive line is not nearly as bad as it looked. Philadelphia's defensive line is nearly not as good as they looked. That was the worst It looked like they had the worst offensive line in the NFL. None of you think they have the worst offensive line. Not with Creed Humphrey, who's going to be in the Ring of Honor. Not who, for Joe Thuney, people were arguing last week was a Hall of Famer. Not with Trey Smith, who is about to sign the most lucrative interior offensive line contract in the history of the league. Their offensive line is not unusable. Play calling is part of the situation. Their refusal to want to run the football is part of it. And the other thing, some of it's Pat. Some of it's Pat. Pat has strengths. Pat has weaknesses. And when Pat doesn't feel comfortable with the offensive line, he starts to do erratic things. It was very similar to what happened in the Tampa game. He starts to turn around and spin his back, and he starts to lose confidence. Some of their offensive line problems is Pat's play style. And when things break down, he starts to lose structure. And some of the things that we were told he struggled with when he came into the league, he still struggles with those things when the protection is not ideal. Your protection isn't always going to be ideal. So I'm not telling you that offensive line and blocking was not why they lost. It is absolutely on the list. It is one of the 3 biggest reasons why they lost. I'm telling you that if your hope is that they are radically changing their offensive line the way that they did in 2021, that is not happening. They have made a decision on Joe Thuney. They've given him a lot of money. They've made a decision on Jawan Taylor. They've made a decision on Creed Humphrey. That game was not won or lost because of right guard. They got other problems in that. So at least for me, it is about skill position players and getting a better running back and us not arguing whether or not Kareem Hunt is good on 3.6 yards per carry. He was one of the least effective backs in the league this year. 3.6 yards per carry is not what you want your running back to be. He had a great season, but you need more explosiveness from that position. Find it. At wide receiver, I'm all for you going out there. I'm all for a transition starting to happen where your 35-year-old tight end doesn't have 115 balls thrown his way. That cannot be their offense next year. That cannot be it. So maybe we disagree. 913-586-7965. And I'm not even telling you that you are wrong about their offensive line. I'm just simply saying with the amount of money that they have tied up into it, there's only really one thing left to do. They're going to spend a lot of money on something. It is either left tackle or they're going to spend it on Trey Smith. They are not doing both this offseason. They are not going out and getting Cam Robinson and spending the $20 million it's going to take and re-signing Trey Smith this offseason with all the other things that they got to pay for. So you are going to be, if you are expecting them to do an overhaul up front, you are going to be very disappointed coming up in a month with the money that they've already spent and the other things that they have to do. I mean, they're not going to have DeAndre Hopkins. They're not going to have Hollywood Brown. Those guys' contracts is over. McCole Hardman's contract is up. They got stuff they got to pay for elsewhere. This is the last year of Isaiah Pacheco's deal. They have 2 running backs currently on the roster. They have Isaiah Pacheco and Carson Steele. They need more than that at running back. They got other things that they're going to have to pay for and figure out as well. So I'm not going to be banging the drum for offensive line the way that some of you will be banging the drum. I'm telling you that right now. You'll be very disappointed. That's what you think.
I know you don't want to have the full-on offseason conversation. And we got a lot of time between now and when they start signing free agents. I'll be fascinated by this offseason because usually when the Chiefs have a problem, it's like a singular problem. And Brett Veach goes and fixes it. Like the offensive line after the Bucs loss. He traded for a new left tackle. He drafted a center and right guard. He signed a couple guards. Like they went all out to fix that one problem. The roster following the Bucs Super Bowl outside of the offensive line was basically the same. Man, the Chiefs have a lot more holes to plug than people think. They're going to lose Mike Dana. Like he's going to leave. They're probably going to lose Charles Omenihu.
Yeah.
Those are 2 of your better pass rushers on the outside of Karlaftis. You got to get Trent McDuffie locked up. You just do. Justin Reed is probably walking out the door. You got to figure out something to do at safety. You got some bodies in there, but you got to kind of figure out what to do. Jalen Watson was barbecue chicken alert in the Super Bowl. We haven't talked about it because the O-line was so bad, but Jalen Watson was just cooked. Probably in their corner. Nick Bolton, I've said all season he's not coming back. You probably need another linebacker. Like, they are a lot of positions that you have to add depth or new starters to. And I haven't even pivoted to the offense yet. So if your plan, and not you, on the text line is fix the O-line and we back, then you are ignoring other potential problems that could pop up for this team. Now, one of the ways the Chiefs were able to just fix one problem all those off seasons is they made blockbuster moves. If you think a blockbuster move is coming to send a player away or send draft picks away, that's fine. But this offseason is unique to me because Brett Veach has a lot of holes to plug, not a lot of cap space to do it, and as always, a bad draft position. So it is not as simple as get a left tackle, we good.
Yeah, I'm not really as worried about the cap space. You can just always figure that out. You can extend Joe Thuney for next year. You can restructure Patrick Mahomes' contract. I'm not as worried about the cap space than maybe some other people are. I want to read this to you guys very quickly. I don't want anybody to hear this like I don't think Patrick Mahomes is great. I think Patrick Mahomes is phenomenal. He is the best player of his generation. He is one of the 3 greatest quarterbacks we have ever seen. Rob, I pulled up his NFL draft weaknesses. And I want to ask you if you saw these things on Sunday. Pat has a lot of overwhelming strengths. I think we have also seen 2 examples. When things break down around Mahomes, he has some bad habits. And teams like Tampa that are very disciplined defensively, teams like Philadelphia that are very disciplined defensively, they take advantage of what his weaknesses are. Rob, I'm reading it, and it says that Patrick Mahomes, he has a willingness to default to playground style, which appears to limit his ability to get into a consistent rhythm. He needs to improve anticipatory throws and learn to take what the defense gives him. It then also goes on to say that his decision-making can go from bad to good in a moment's notice. It also says that at times he can be impatient and that he will leave the pocket prematurely than standing in and trying to win in rhythm. Now, all of the good things about Mahomes, he is better in that than even they thought he was going to be. He is more accurate than they thought he was going to be. His arm is better, his elusiveness. All of the strengths for Mahomes, he is even stronger at those things. When his offensive line, when he thinks it breaks down, he defaults to back at Texas Tech and running around and not playing fundamental football. That hurts them in those scenarios. Some of why they lost this game was not because of Mike Caliendo. Some of it is bad habits from Patrick Mahomes that just, you have to figure out a way to turn those weaknesses into your strengths. Tom Brady never looked like how you looked on Sunday. Your offensive line, you had enough to be competitive. You had enough to give yourself a chance. And Philadelphia is great. They got a lot of weapons. They got a lot of guys that can get after the quarterback. It looked like Philadelphia had the best defensive line in the league and the Chiefs had the worst offensive line in the league. I don't think that there's that big of a discrepancy. And that's why this offseason for me, when it comes to Mahomes, for me, I'm really curious to see how he responds to this. There's no shame in getting knocked down. Everybody gets knocked down at some point. The 2007 New England Patriots are the best football team that we have ever seen. They lost the Super Bowl. Muhammad Ali has lost a fight before. Mike Tyson has been knocked out before. Champions lose all the time. All the time, champions lose. It's how you respond to the beatdown. This kind of loss has to make you question everything. It has to make you question everything. You need to be questioning your diet. You need to be questioning if you are training correctly. You need to be questioning if you're watching film properly, if you're working out with the right quarterback coach. This has to be a real evaluation. Patrick Mahomes played the worst game of his life on Sunday. Worst game as a pro. Maybe he played that poorly in college. He was bad. He was bad. And this time, it's different than the Tampa Bay. When they lost to Tampa Bay, the conversation was about the offensive line and what the offensive line did wrong. And the sentiment was, Pat, you did everything and your teammates didn't help you. It's no shame. And that's cool. I agree with that for the most part, too. That's not how people are carrying this one. People are carrying this one differently. Pat, you're the greatest. We were having conversations about you being the greatest quarterback of all time, and you laid the biggest of eggs. This is his LeBron in 2011 moment. That's what it was. This was his LeBron in 2011 moment. LeBron was ready to be the greatest basketball player that we had ever seen. The Heat were the best team that we had seen in a long time in the NBA. They had a 2-0 series lead against the Dallas Mavericks, and were about to win Game 3. And then I don't know what happened with LeBron. The air conditioning, something happened, and LeBron was a different player. LeBron has accomplished a lot of things since then. People still hold 2011 against him. People will hold this loss against Patrick Mahomes for the rest of his career. But the Heat won the championship the next year, and the championship after that, and then they went to the championship after that. And then he left that team and then went to another team and kept winning championships. He's done it since then. This is not the end of Mahomes, obviously. He's 29 years old. He's the best player in the league. He's the best player in the world. He is one of the 5 best players to ever play in the National Football League. There is no question. This is the first time that you were not the belle of the ball in a long time. For the last 3 years, the Chiefs have been the best team in the league, and it has not been an argument on whether or not they were the best team in the league. Basically, since they traded Tyreek Hill up until Sunday at 7 o'clock Central, they have been the best team in the National Football League. That's a pretty long streak of being the best team. Things have always kind of worked out for Kansas City for the last 18 months or so. Even when it wasn't supposed to work out. Team kicks a 31-yard field goal. Chiefs just block it. We just always figure out a way to win. Hey, it doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. No, you did not figure it out this time. You got thumped this time. So this has to be reflection for everybody, not just Pat, not just Kelsey. This needs to be reflection for Matt Nagy. This needs to be reflection for Andy Reid. You got embarrassed. You didn't just lose. You could accept losing. Losing happens. You got embarrassed. You didn't look prepared. You got outclassed. You got outplayed on Sunday. How do you bounce back? How do you respond? I'm genuinely really intrigued to see what that looks like for Patrick Mahomes. I'm really intrigued to see what it looks like for this team. I'm not going to say the Chiefs were coasting by any means, but you were the best. Everybody, we kind of laughed at every other challenger. Oh, Buffalo, I'm not taking them seriously. There is a team right now that is walking around the National Football League that thinks they have figured out Patrick Mahomes and that they are better than you. There has not been a team that's been doing that since the New England Patriots. Since the Patriots in 2019 was the last time that a team felt like they were better than the Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe you could argue Cincinnati, but I never felt like that. So I'm kind of curious to see how everybody responds to this. I'm very intrigued to see what they do this offseason, how aggressive they're going to be, what they think their biggest needs are for this team. We had Matt Verderam on the show. Did you cut it, Rob, the Matt Verderam cut? I want to play for you guys what Matt Verderam had to say about this team, and he and I are on the exact same wavelength. What I want to see the Chiefs do is I want to see them get younger, faster, and more dynamic at skill positions. That's what I want to see. I don't think that there was a lot of explosiveness in their offense. I don't think that all of a sudden Patrick Mahomes turned into check down Charlie this year in the National Football League. I saw a stat as I was getting ready for the show earlier today. Let me pull it up here. This stat was about Patrick Mahomes that maybe sums up sort of where their offense was this year. In terms of yards per play. So yards per play this season. The Chiefs in 2023 were 9th. They were either 1 or 2 every other year. Patrick Mahomes was a starting quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, either 1 or 2. Last year they were 9th. This year they were 22nd in the NFL. Now, I don't think that their quarterback got worse. I think he is in his prime. That throw that he made to Xavier Worthy, he still has all the juice left. You got to put more parts and weapons around him. And your best offensive skill position player this season, your number one target was a 35-year-old. Your number one running back was a 29-year-old who wasn't on a team in August. You need more explosiveness. You need to be faster. You need to be more dynamic. You need to be more explosive. The Chiefs have one explosive offensive player. He's the only one of them that played well on Sunday. Juju's not explosive. DeAndre Hopkins is not explosive. Kareem Hunt is not explosive. This version of Isaiah Pacheco is none of those things. They need to get faster. They need to get more explosive. They need to be a more dynamic offense.
You've got to move forward with the idea of, and this includes the running backs, we are getting faster. We are getting more dynamic. We are going to fix this offensive line and have speed all over the field, and we're going to allow Mahomes to be the best version of himself. Because the last 2 years, and listen, it's worked. They won a Super Bowl. They went to another one. They've asked that guy to basically be Alex Smith the last 2 years. And that's just, with all due respect to Alex Smith, that's a denigration of Mahomes' talent. You've got to allow him to be him. And they're not doing that because they can't hold up and because they have no dynamicism outside of a 1 year of Rice and about half a season worth of Worthy.
You got to get more dogs on offense. That's going to be my message. You need more dogs. I'm talking dogs in their prime. Not dogs who are going to be out of the league in 18 months. Travis Kelce will be out of the league in 18 months. DeAndre Hopkins will be out of the league in 18 months. I'm talking about dogs, pups, young guns. They don't have enough. The other team had a bunch of them. Find more dogs. That's what they need. That's going to be my philosophy this offseason. I'm telling you what the next handful of shows is going to sound like. They need to get more dynamic. They need to get more explosive on offense. They need more explosive in the passing game. They need explosion in the run game. They did not have that this season in the run game, and it cost them severely when it mattered most. All right, Rob, let's get to the hits.
Your workday is over.
Oh, yeah.
You're headed home, and now you're stuck in traffic. Time to get caught up on the biggest stories in Kansas City and around the country with CDOT and Rob. It's time for the hits. Number 1.
Really quickly, can I read this text?
Absolutely, go ahead.
And I know that I'm turned into the Travis Kelce hater. CDOT, that decline you are talking about directly correlates with Matt Nagy. It also correlates with the decline of Travis Kelce. I'm not saying that Matt Nagy has been great. I'm not saying that by any means. If you look at the yards per play, it is first, second, first. That is when you had the greatest tight end ever on your team. They don't have that right now. They don't have that. They do not have the best tight end in the National Football League on their team right now. So I hear what you were saying, and I don't disagree with you. It coincides when Nagy got there. It also coincides when your offense started to shift away from players in their prime and dogs. And it starts to shift to more dink and dunk and kind of piecemealing the parts together. There's no reason for a Patrick Mahomes offense to be ranked 22nd in yards per play. 22nd. That's every time you call hike. They were 22nd in the NFL at gaining yards on that play. With Mahomes and Andy Reid, that is unacceptable for their offense.
Number 2.
Well, King, the hits are brought to you by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. Well, the victor go to the spoils, Carrington. Let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles for a minute here, as they were the victors in a non-competitive game on Sunday. Carrington, we have talked a lot in the NFL season about this big four when it comes to quarterbacks: Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, and Burrow. But now, with 2 Super Bowl appearances and a Super Bowl trophy, as well as a Super Bowl MVP and a dominant performance in the game, is it time for us to start saying there's a big 5 and that Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback in the National Football League?
Are you putting him in that big 5? I'm not doing that. I got a feeling you might, though.
If not him, then who? Who's the guy? I look at his play and I think you're probably right. I don't think he should be 5, but you start to run through the names. It's hard to justify a lot of him over, like Justin Herbert. No, can't do that. Like, let's just cross off the board.
You got Hurts as the 5th best quarterback in the league right now.
Jared Goff, is Jared Goff better than Jalen Hurts? Jaden Daniels, dynamic rookie season, but jury's still out. Like, Dak, no. I mean,
let me ask you a question right
no?
now. Maybe this is a different way of asking it. Maybe this is unfair. If tomorrow the league started, do you think the Hurts would go 5th? I asked that because the other 4 quarterbacks would go 1 through 4. You agree? Tomorrow,
they would go 1 through 4.
Tomorrow, if it was a fantasy draft and you got the Titans on the clock with the number 1 overall pick, I don't know who has the 2nd overall pick. I haven't begun to look at the NFL draft. Certainly not that high. Loser. I think it's the Giants have the 2nd overall pick. I could be wrong.
Browns.
My bad, the Browns. That's the Midwest Giants. that's the Midwest Giants. If you did that draft, those 4 quarterbacks that I mentioned would all go 1 through 4. Do you think that Jalen Hurts would go 5? Because I do not think he would go 5 in that draft class.
I don't think he would go 5.
I don't think he would go 5 either.
I think that's a different question, though.
Is he going top 10?
Yes. Oh, yeah, he'll go top 10.
Okay. I'm not 100% he goes top 10 in that draft class either. I'm not. Maybe I sound bad because I'm hating on Jalen Hurts, and I'm not. I give him a lot of credit for what they accomplished. I don't know if he goes top 10 in that draft class. I don't know if he does. I'm really thinking right now. I don't know if he does.
Pretty. I mean, if you don't have him at 10, who's 5 through 10 that you got over him without a doubt? Okay, we'll have a conversation about Jaden Daniels. Fine. Fine. Who are these other 4 quarterbacks you're like undoubted Jalen Hurts is worse than?
It's a good question. I got to really think. I'm still a Matthew Stafford believer. You know that.
He's 375 years old.
Well,
he played. You know how
he's about to go play for the Steelers. So.
You know how old Matthew Stafford was? He played college the same year as Chase Daniel and Todd Reesing. Like, let that sink in.
He handed the ball off to Noshawn Moreno.
Yeah. He played for Mark Richt, Georgia.
Oh, that's a long time ago. No, I mean, I can't really dispute what you're saying. I know it. I really wish I could. I really wish I could be like, no, you're wrong. I don't know if you're wrong. I felt like coming into the game that Jalen Hurts was in that like 11 to 13 range. I now came like, oh, he's the 5th best quarterback. I can't do that. I don't have that in me to put him at 5th. I maybe disrespected him and had him a little bit too low. 13 for the quarterback that I saw seems a little low and disrespectful. So I want to apologize to the Jalen Hurts family. I can't put him at 5. I can't do it. You're telling me tomorrow you'd rather have him than have Jaden Daniels? I don't know if I could do that. I don't know. Someone said Bo Nix. All right, let's see.
Now it's time to break.
Somebody always takes it too far. That's what I mean. Somebody always takes it too far. Coming up on the other side, you know what? Today is going to be the last day that we really talk about the Super Bowl. I'm ready to move on from this game. I imagine many of you are ready to move on from this game. But before we do that, let's tell you what the national media was saying about your Kansas City Chiefs. We'll do that next. Keep it right here. So Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Fellas, are you feeling sluggish, maybe a bit tired, or just not feeling like yourself? Maybe your workouts aren't producing the results that they used to, and you're not getting that great quality sleep. If you're noticing changes, then it could be low testosterone. Low T affects more than just your energy levels. It can impact everything from your workout performance to the intimacy in your relationship. Well, here's some great news. Heartland Men's Health is here to help you. It's simple to get started. Take a quiz at heartlandmenshealth.com to see if you might have low T. Then schedule a $99 consultation where you'll get lab work and results in just 30 minutes. And if you sign up for treatment, then your visit is free. Don't wait any longer. Feel like yourself today. Call Heartland Men's Health, your partner in better health. Call this number, 844-447-6600, or check out the website, heartlandmenshealth.com today. Heartland Men's Health, Kansas City's trusted choice for low T treatment.
Drowning in IRS debt? If you can't afford to pay your IRS debt due to economic hardship, you can now be free of IRS collection efforts by taking advantage of a special IRS tax hardship program. This program allows Americans who owe the IRS to resolve their delinquent tax debt once and for all. In some cases, maybe even reducing what you owe significantly. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Simply dial 800-514-1026 if you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back or have years of unfiled tax returns. Help is standing by. Just call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-514-1026 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-514-1026 to see if you qualify. That's 800-514-1026.
This Valentine's Day, fall in love with Hy-Vee. The classic dozen roses, just $19.99. Avoid the restaurant hassle and treat your Valentine to a home-cooked meal featuring bacon-wrapped filet, salad, bakery fresh baguette, twice-baked potatoes, vegetable, and dessert for just $35 a couple. Top it off with your favorite bottle of wine or spirits from Hy-Vee's wide selection. One stop makes this Valentine's Day the sweetest ever, only at Hy-Vee.
I love Hy-Vee for so many different reasons, but one of the things I love most about Hy-Vee is their customer service. Everyone that works at Hy-Vee is awesome. And you know what else I love about Hy-Vee? I don't have to sacrifice quality and service to get low prices. Hy-Vee just dropped the price on thousands of items in every aisle, in every department, on items I buy every day, both in-store and online. Hy-Vee even match prices with the nation's biggest discount stores. So check out Hy-Vee today and get those low prices only at Hy-Vee.
Hey KC, when I discovered my new passion, I dove into social media, got on some shows, and soon almost Andy Reid was bored. But this winter, there's something new you might discover that's not as great. Issues with your garage door. Don't get stuck in the cold. Get your annual maintenance check for just $100 or a free replacement quote from my friends at Renner Garage Door. They carry top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, trusted locally since 1956.
RENNER, RENNER. Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, really? That's great.
Seriously, did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Yeah, you just said that.
Did you say I just said that?
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
I can't have any more? Why not?
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Sometimes it feels like the world is moving at hyperspeed and you can't keep up because it's one thing then another. And don't forget the meeting and the yoga class and the dinner reservation. But then you get into the all-new Nissan Murano and you feel the breeze from the panoramic moonroof while the massaging seats melt away the tension of the day. And you realize that sometimes the greatest rush is not rushing at all. Shop the all-new Murano at nissanusa.com. Panoramic moonroof massaging leather appointed seats are available features.
With Target, checking off your Valentine's Day list has never been easier. First, surprise your favorite people with something extra thoughtful, like a soothing candle and a memorable scent, or a decorative picture frame to show off every moment. Both buy one, get one 50% off with Target Circle. And don't forget to treat yourself. Find the sweetest style for your special occasion with 20% off women's dresses now through Friday. This week, find Valentine's gifts for everyone you love, only at Target.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Kansas side, K10 eastbound, still pretty heavy from K7 out towards Woodland with problem off on the shoulder. Heading into downtown, 70 westbound a bit slow as you make your way from Truman into the downtown loop. Alan Carr, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
Welcome to your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
All right, I want to play something for you guys. Well, a couple things, actually. Let me start with this. We're going to play Colin Cowherd. We're going to run through the nation's opinions on Super Bowl 59. And you know what we're going to do after this? Tomorrow, we are going to move forward as a team, as a family, and we're going to talk about the offseason and what the Chiefs need to do. And then we'll talk about KU, and we'll talk about Missouri as they look to win their first ever national championship in basketball. We'll move on to those things tomorrow. But today, let's hear what everybody's been saying about the Super Bowl. Let's start with Colin Cowherd.
You have to physically beat the champs. And that's what happened. That's what the Giants did to Brady twice. They physically manhandled Dante Scarnecchia's very good offensive lines. They pushed him all over the field. And that's what Philadelphia did. So Buffalo can complain, but Buffalo, you don't have enough good players defensively. You don't have three guys that would start for the Eagles defensively. Bengals, you're not aggressive enough in the front office. Baltimore, you get tight in big games. I mean, you watch Philadelphia. Is Buffalo, how many defensive players for Buffalo start for Philadelphia? I'm dead serious. Milano, that may be it. It's none of their guys in the secondary. The proud Steelers can't take you seriously. You want to be champs? You got to do what the Giants did to New England. You got to do what the Seahawks did to Peyton Manning in Denver. You got to do what Philadelphia did to Kansas City. You left no doubt. You pushed them around. Early in the game, there's that penalty against Philadelphia. It's terrible. Couple plays, couple series later, there's a makeup call. And in the end, this series came down to something very, very simple. Kansas City could not block Philadelphia, and Kansas City didn't adjust.
There is one thing that I don't think we talk about nearly enough in team building. Everybody says that it is a quarterback league, and of course that it is. But there are very few elite quarterbacks in the National Football League. Well, what do you do if you don't have one of those? Well, I don't think that Philadelphia has one of those, but they're elite at the other two things that really matter. They have elite skill position players. They are elite up front. And if you're not going to hit on one of those guys at quarterback, that's fine. You can make it being great at all the other things. Look at San Francisco. When San Francisco was elite and great at all of those other things, they could compete for a Super Bowl. You took that away this year. You lost Christian McCaffrey. Their offensive line had some issues. Brandon Ayuk got injured this year. Deebo Samuel was banged up for most of the year. The fastest way is to be elite at quarterback, sure. If you're not going to be elite at quarterback, you need to figure out a way to be elite at these other things. You need to try to get the best pass rush in the National Football League. You need to try to figure out a way to get 4 or 5 high-end weapons and put them around your quarterback. That's what Philadelphia has done. I don't think that Philadelphia has the best quarterback in the league. I don't think that at all. They got the best running back in the league. They might have the best offensive line in the league. They got a D-line that gets after it. They got one of the best 1-2 punches at wide receiver. They got a top 5 tight end in Dallas Goedert. So, yeah, maybe you have the 9th best quarterback or the 10th best, wherever you would put Jalen Hurts at. You're really good at the other things that obviously really, really matter. And if you can be superior than your opposition on those other things, you give yourself a chance. San Francisco last year had a chance. Philadelphia this year, they certainly had a chance. They ended up winning the Super Bowl. Here is Dan Orlowski of ESPN.
We're in the game. Up on the board is a next-gen stats, I believe.
and it said 52% pressure rate, 0 blitzes. So as an offensive, you're sitting there going, I know what they're doing. They're not trying to confuse me. They are just physically whooping me. And that's what made Patrick unsettled. And when I look at my notes, I said, this is the worst performance I've ever seen from an Andy Reid coach football team. Outclassed, out-physicaled. There was so much drop-back pass, little protection help. There been little 12 play action, low energy. I mean, it was 17-0. And I remember going to Lewis and going, dude, they're walking everywhere. It almost felt like they made him say, no mas.
I don't disagree with anything Dan Orlowski had to say. I do think the Chiefs played with low energy. I think the Chiefs got hit. I think they got punched in the mouth. I think they saw their own blood for the first time in a long time and wanted no parts of it. I think Philadelphia beat the Chiefs into submission. I think they beat them into submission. I think it was an old school ground and pound pummeling is what we saw Philadelphia do. And I think the Chiefs looked up and they didn't know what hit them. I don't disagree with anything that Dan Orlowski had to say. James Jones, here's his commentary. He's on the faculty. He echoes the sentiment of our dear friend Rob.
It's a failure, a big one. A big failure. Because
you understand what you're saying.
You said Juju and all them players, but the question is the Chiefs. Yeah. All right, it's a failure. The Kansas City Chiefs walk into every training camp and the goal is to win the championship because they have been there. And with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid there, that is the goal. And if you don't accomplish that goal, the season is a failure. I don't care about any of the individual stats. If this was the Atlanta Falcons, the Carolina Panthers, the Denver Broncos and all that, sure, no failure. We're talking about Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce going for a three-peat. And the goal every year, because you can do it, is to go win a championship. If you do not complete that mission, I believe the season is a failure. I do not care how good your season was. I don't care MVP season. I said the same thing about Lamar Jackson. I felt like his season was a failure, even with the great stats and numbers that he put up. You did not get to.
You said it about yourself, which I think was most important.
Myself as well, and Aaron Rodgers as well. The seasons we didn't get to, those are failure of seasons. You have the team to compete and get to Super Bowls. And I know they made it a regular thing, and I know it's extremely hard to get to Super Bowls, but this season was a failure. The Kansas City Chiefs, every time they walk into training camp, have a chance to win a championship. This year they got to the Super Bowl to three-peat. They did not play their best.
I can't consider that to be a failure. Matter of perspective, difference of opinions, reasonable minds can disagree. I can't call you going to the Super Bowl and losing a failure. Certainly not for somebody who played for the Green Bay Packers that went to one his entire career. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? You're an Aaron Rodgers guy. You guys played in one. Mahomes has played in 5. So what is it if you don't make the Super Bowl at all? A colossal failure? I can't sign up to that thinking about the Chiefs season. Disappointing? Sure. Heartbreaking? Of course. Failure? No. A failure is San Francisco's season. They made it to the Super Bowl. They missed the playoffs outright and finished with a losing record. That's failing. That's bad. The Chiefs had a failure of a season. It's not where I'm at. It's not where I'm at all. All right, coming up on the other side, KU plays coming up in a couple of hours. Rob, I think, is going there. He's got his Jayhawks hoodie on today. He only wears KU stuff when he's going to the game. I saw that they only had 20 student groups sign up for this game. We'll talk about it. Keep right here. It's The Drive.
The Drive with Carrington Harrison on your new home for K-State Athletics. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick. And it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks VapoStick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Use as directed. VapoStick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max used for adults only.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Okay, so that's with bacon, cheese, lettuce, tomato, grilled onions, ketchup, and hold the pickles.
You know what you like. You wouldn't order your burger just any way. Why should your sports talk be any different? With Chapters on the free Odyssey app, you can choose the topics that matter to you most. Whether it's reactions, matchup previews, injury updates, or team news, quickly find what you really care about. Your football talk, your way. Download the free Odyssey app and start listening today.
Hi, this is Toby Tobin along with Jason Goodenkoff from Lewisburg Ford in Lewisburg, Kansas. Hi, Jason.
Hello, Toby.
Let's talk about the buying experience at Lewisburg Ford.
It's the best anywhere. Just ask all our customers, Toby. It is hands down the best experience you can have buying a new car. We have the no-hassle Toby Tobin price that we've had for 35 years now. Nobody else can say that. We've been saving Kansas City thousands and thousands of dollars for a lot of years.
I have been buying Ford cars and trucks from Lewisburg Ford for over 30 years, and I know personally this is the best place to buy a Ford car or truck. Great prices, but there's a whole lot more than that.
It doesn't just stop at price, Toby.
Yeah.
There's other factors to this equation, and it's trade-in allowance, financing, and the experience of how knowledgeable the people are that you're dealing with. And we surpass everybody in all those areas. We always have. We always will. That's why calling us is important.
Do you have that new pickup?
Absolutely. And it's dynamite.
Okay. Lewisburg Ford is your best place to buy a Ford car or truck. What's your toll-free number?
816-444-2300.
Lewisburg Ford or lewisburgford.com.
Hey, it's Rex here with RexBuysKC.com, your local KC home buyer. If you own a property in the Kansas City or surrounding area and want to sell it fast and at a fair price, write this number down. 816-330-6000. I'm a private real estate investor, not some hedge fund or large national chain. My family and I live right here in KC. I can pay cash and close on your timeline, even in as little as 3 days. Here at RexBuysKC.com, we're improving Kansas City one house at a time. I buy inherited houses, vacant houses, foreclosure houses, behind in payment houses, my tenant won't pay the rent houses, and properties that need complete rehabs. Do you own a house that's trashed and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at this number, 816-330-6000. That's 816-330-6000, or go to RexBuysKC.com. That's RexBuysKC.com, and I look forward to working with you.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This report is brought to you by Care Now Urgent Care. Find one near you at carenow.com.
Care Now Urgent Care has 15 Kansas City area locations open 7 days a week. From injuries and illnesses to school and sports physicals, Care Now Urgent Care is here to help you feel better fast. Find a location near you at carenow.com and use our convenient web check-in today.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Here's traffic, brought to you by DM Injury Law. Have you or a loved one been in a car wreck? Contact DM Injury Law today and get the money you deserve. Car wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
Kansas side, K10 eastbound, still pretty heavy from K7 out towards Woodland with problem off on the shoulder. Heading into downtown, 70 westbound a bit slow as you make your way from Truman into the downtown loop. Alan Card, 96.5 The Fan, traffic.
Patrick Mahomes joins CDOT every week during the season, right here on 96.5 The Fan.
There's $6 tickets for the KU game tonight. $6 if you want to go watch the Kansas Jayhawks play the Colorado Buffaloes. Should be a great regional matchup. Not a lot of people interested in going to this game. Shout out to my guy Jayhawk Talk. Has a very popular podcast. Shout out to him. He said that there were 20 groups, 20 student groups.
24 student groups.
That doesn't sound like a lot to me, Rob.
It's not a lot. Listen, I'm not going to come off like a curmudgeon old man and use the platform we have to disparage the current student body, but I have my frustrations with the current student body. Allen is not hitting the same way with this student group.
Well, you want to know why? Because they're getting mid-basketball.
There's been mid-basketball by KU standards in the history of Allen, and people still showed up. The Jayhawk Talk, who referenced earlier, had that tweet. He was referencing how he was at a game. It was the year that J.R. Gins was in Lawrence, and they were a 4 seed. That team is not some dynamic team.
They were a 4 seed.
They filled the arena. This is a 4 seed team. They're not filling the arena. The K-State game, I was at the K-State game. Well, it was the same day as the Chiefs playoff game. The student body didn't show up. They sold those GA tickets off. Like, K-State can't fill the student body? I have my complaints with the students this year.
I don't know. Maybe you guys need more home games against Missouri.
Even the Houston game didn't seem to hit the way I thought it would.
You guys need Mizzou. That's you guys' Super Bowl. Playing Mizzou is you guys' Super Bowl. Playing North Carolina and UConn. You guys got to play more of those games. Students are tired of it. They're tired of being sold this mid. To quote Beyonce's husband, you can't sell me BS. We know the prices. The students said no mas. We're tired of it. Hey, come over here and cheer for a real team. If you tired of the assistant coach, all in the videos, dancing, come over to Death Row, man. We don't have that problem over on this side. It's great over on this side. It's great. It's phenomenal. Come on over. Sure, it'll be great.
Is it great? Because it's not like it was a great week for Mizzou.
I didn't say anything about Mizzou. You said something. I didn't say anything about Mizzou. See what I mean? I did earlier, but you know what I mean.
I mean, I connected 2 dots.
It's all right. I don't know what's going to happen to your team. Colorado's terrible, though. Colorado's real bad. UMKC might beat Colorado.
Yeah.
Neutral site, UMKC would give Colorado fits, and that's not even a joke. UMKC would give Colorado fits if they played each other.
They're 0 in the league. Like,
they're bad. They stink. They're terrible.
Real bad.
They're real bad. They're awful. Awful team.
That's an interesting game tonight, though. K-State, Arizona is actually very interesting.
With you. I plan on watching it.
Because I know Fran Fraschilla wouldn't shut up about it on Saturday, but K-State with a win could suddenly re-enter the bubble conversation. They have a lot of quality wins on their resume.
Yeah,
Arizona, who's really good in conference, that's a big win for the Cats.
I'm going to watch them tonight. I can't wait to watch K-State basketball tonight. It's been a while since I've been able to say that. Oh, I can't wait to watch K-State. I thought they were going to be fun this past weekend, but they just beat up on their opponent. Smoked your Jayhawks. Just boom, boom, boom. Just beat them up. You know that they're doing the Joe Lunardi, or not the Joe Lunardi, but the ESPN, the official bracket this week?
Yeah, it's the net rankings.
Yeah, they're doing that this
The top
week.
16 net teams.
Are you guys going to be in that, you think?
It's possible. There's 17 in the AP. They're right on the fringe of the net.
I mean, we're going to find out how the committee feels about KU.
That's Saturday morning on CBS,
Yeah, we're going to find out how the committee feels about them. We certainly are. Big
Mizzou
week for Missouri.
Mizzou going to be in that top 16?
No, they're not going to be in the top 16. Missouri's at 6 seed right now.
Ruse? Obviously, top 16?
Yeah, no. Missouri's going to be a 6 seed in the tournament. I feel very confident in that. They still got some big wins.
Speaking of Lunardi has K-State as on the graphic this morning.
Yeah, they finally made it. And they got a chance to keep getting some good wins. If they win today, they're back in the conversation about being in the tournament. So I'm all for it. Let's have a K-State guest on tomorrow.
Works for me.
Let's have a K-State guest on just so K-State fans can say we never talk about their team.
Win or lose, or like, you know how K-State fans get? You have a guest on when they lose.
Win or lose. Let's have a K-State guest on tomorrow at 2:45 to recap their game. We don't need a KU guest on. Let's wait for a bigger KU game.
We'll be waiting until March because
let's wait for senior day.
Their next 5 is Colorado, Utah, BYU, Oklahoma State.
They got another game I might go to. I'm not going
tonight.
To this one.
Oh, Oklahoma State. That's a Carrington special.
That's next week?
Yes, next Saturday.
Oh, okay. That's not a terrible game to go to.
Like, $28 to get in or something.
That's not a terrible game to go to. I don't mind going if it's going to be free or cheap. Colorado, though, I mean, that's going out there for a scrimmage. That's a waste of everybody's time. It's not even a worthy game. Texas Tech, is that worth going to?
Texas Tech is ranked above Kansas, so yes, that will not be a cheap ticket.
Arizona?
Definitely not going to be a cheap ticket.
I don't know. Y'all don't like this senior class, though.
Yeah, but
this is you guys' least favorite senior class. Is senior day going to be fun for you guys? You guys might lose senior day. It's been a long time since that happened.
That doesn't happen.
That would just really cement this KU year as the worst year they've had in a while if they lose senior day.
Hunter Dickinson, KJ Adams, and DeJuan Harris are not going to be bathed in glory on senior night.
Are you guys going to put Hunter Dickinson's name in the rafters?
Probably not.
Okay, I didn't know. I just like knowing. I like to get an update on what's going on. Golly, it's $100. I just typed on StubHub. It's the cheapest ticket to go to KU Arizona is $182 right now.
Yeah,
$182.
Arizona being good. There was a time where Arizona was kind of bad. Arizona just got red hot.
That's crazy. I'll be paying that to go watch KU basketball. That's crazy. The Big 12 tournament is going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if anyone cares.
How many
about
Arizona
that.
fans are going to come to that one?
3. 3. It's going to be Miles Simon, Mike Bibby, and Lute Olson. I mean, the only fans they have at the Big 12 tournament. When does the Big 12 tournament start now? It starts on Tuesday?
Yeah, it's like the first 4 Tuesday.
Monday? That's like a week-long event now, the Big 12. So many teams in that damn league. I guess SEC's conference the same way. All right, tomorrow we are putting the Super Bowl behind us. It is full speed ahead to the offseason. Take care of yourself. It's The Drive.